Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy KCM What Ifs. Today we are gonna be reading the Sharingan Devil, or what if Naruto had the Sharingan and was a captain of the ANBU. So sit back, relax and enjoy. What shall it be, Kakashi? A question so simple, yet one which would change a man's life forever. To die standing by the oath from the past, or embrace the new world which awaited in front of him. His eyes shifted towards Hiruzen. The old Kage's wrinkled face and hard gaze reminded him of his past and what he had stood for till this moment. Then he looked towards Naruto, and the boy peacefully stood on the other side. The look in his eyes showed him the new future that awaited him and this world. Finally, he could only make one choice. History is written by the victor, said Kakashi. Hiruzen was confused when a faint smile came on Naruto's face. The Kage was just about to attack Kakashi for siding against the village when the copy ninja stepped beside him and opened his hidden Sharingan. Taking a kunai from his pouch, he pointed the weapon towards Naruto. "Is that your answer?" asked Naruto. "Yes. You're the smartest man I've ever known," complimented Naruto, as he took in a deep breath. "What the hell are you two talking about? Kakashi, come clean now," ordered Hiruzen. If he wanted this man to fight beside him, then he needed to know where his true loyalties lay. Surprisingly, it was Naruto who stepped forward to answer the question. History is written by the victor. It's a simple phrase, yet it answered my question. Kakashi will fight beside you, Hiruzen, and fulfill his duty and oath towards this village and his comrades. He will be a true ninja till the end, and won't hesitate to kill me if you two are able to win this battle. Correct me if I'm wrong, asked Naruto seriously, getting a confirmation nod from his adoptive father. And if he loses? If we are not able to defeat you, and this is simply an assumption, said Hiruzen flatly, and the devious smile which arrived on Naruto's lips showed him the answer. Then I will choose his fate. Whether to kill him or, hinted Naruto, as Hiruzen looked at Kakashi in surprise. Kakashi, you. When two shinobi of high level fight against each other, they can feel the emotions in their hearts. Show me your conviction. If you can't, then I will bring you back to the village, promised Kakashi. The confidence returned in Hiruzen's eyes as he now had Kakashi Hatake on his side. The man was the one who had trained Naruto, taught most of the things the boy knew. Which meant he also knew the few weaknesses which Naruto could possibly have. So, the will of fire and hatred was true after all. Even though Hashirama and my father are dead, their wills live on in you too, said Naruto bitterly, and you along with Sasuke are the next in line. The ones who inherited the Uchiha's curse of hatred, the ones who carry the hatred of the Uchiha clan, of Root, and every soul that has been wronged by Konoha. If you're not stopped, then you'll strike the ninja world with your thirst for vengeance, said Hiruzen seriously. Naruto was extremely silent for the next few minutes, as Hiruzen and Kakashi prepared themselves for the upcoming battle. Then let's make a pact, suggested Naruto. A pact? Asked Kakashi and Hiruzen together. I will return the bodies of all the deceased Konoha shinobi to their families. For those who don't have one, I will grant proper ninja burials with full honor. If you die, Hiruzen, I will give you the honor a Kage deserves. I'll bury you respectfully beside your predecessors. Kakashi was quite surprised with this offer. Looking towards Hiruzen, he saw a sad look appearing in the Kage's eyes. The old man truly wished the boy standing in front of him was not his enemy. But it was the harsh reality of their world, which turned family members and friends against each other. You have a strange sense of honor, Naruto, said Hiruzen kindly, a faint smile arriving on his face. It's what separates us from mere thugs. Isn't that true, Naruto? I can see why you were the odd one among Root, thought Kakashi clearly. If you accept it, then I want the same treatment given to my soldiers. The deceased should be returned to their families, the injured should be given medical treatment regardless of which side wins, and the survivors should be given one chance to save themselves. The victorious leader will have the final say in that matter. Explained Naruto briefly, I accept. But what if you surrender or die? What do you want us to do then? Asked Hiruzen seriously, making the boy smirk. I will not surrender. So there goes the first choice. In case I die in battle, then I want my body to be buried beside Sai, Shin, and Rei. I don't care how you close my case, but I want the names of all root shinobi to be written with honor on the memorial stone. Their remains are to be buried beside other Konoha shinobi who gave their lives for this village. They may not have always made the right choice, but Root protected Konoha for years. I want my comrades to be given the respect they earned by paying the price of blood. Swear it to me as the Hokage of Konoha. Requested Naruto, the pain evident in his voice. Hiruzen looked at the young boy with a sympathetic gaze. Even after killing Root for the village, Naruto always considered them as his comrades. In a way he was the voice of the dead, the ones who were silenced in a hidden war. The ones who were forgotten despite sacrificing everything for their nation. By giving Root the honor, Naruto wanted to atone for his sins. At least, that's what it seemed to Hiruzen. Very well. Then I, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage of Konohagure no Sato, agreed to this pact. You have my word. Said Hiruzen honestly, and for the first time a true smile came on Naruto's face. One which was free of hate, sadness, or anger. And you have my word. Thank you, Gigi. Replied Naruto kindly. The Nidaime Otokage closed his eyes and the next moment a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan came to life. Hiruzen grabbed his staff, and to Naruto's utter shock Kakashi's Sharingan spinned until it took the form of a unique Mangekyo, one which he had never seen before. The shock was easily visible on his face, which brought a smirk on Kakashi's face. Hatake Kakashi, I underestimated you. To think, you have such an ace up your sleeve. Thought Naruto worriedly. Fighting against Hiruzen Sarutobi was life-threatening, and now he was up against another Mangekyo user. One whose powers were not known to him. The death match was about to begin. Anko quickly dodged another hail of crystal arrows that would have crushed her heart. She gave a vicious glare to Guren. The Oto captain had done far more damage than Anko had previously imagined. Looking towards the deceased bodies of all her Konoha shinobi made her grit her teeth in anger. All her comrades were dead, but not before taking a handful of Reich soldiers with them. She herself was badly injured and it was a matter of time before her end came. Konoha had fought bravely against the sudden invasion launched by Suna, even coming to the brink of defeating the desert ninja. In doing so their forces became extremely tired and took significant losses. And the result was their utter failure in stopping the surprise attack from Otogakure. It was military tactics at its best. The Oto shinobi and their elite Reich warriors had quickly eliminated the tired Suna and Konoha ninja. They would not have been so successful if Naruto had not transformed into his earlier Kyuubi-like form. That boy alone eliminated nearly 40% of their forces. Resistance is futile, Konoha trash. Surrender and the Otokage will give you a fair trial. Our leader is far more merciful than your treacherous Kages. Offered Guren, although her tone clearly suggested she wanted Anko to say the entire opposite. Just so the crystal user could unite Anko with her dead comrades. I'll pass, bitch, replied Anko cockily, making Guren's eyebrows twitch. Then D, yelled Guren darkly. Anko painfully grabbed her kunai in order to make her last stand, when suddenly a loud bugle rang across the entire village. Her eyes widened in disbelief. That music, it was not possible. Her previously furious gaze returned with full power as she quickly threw her kunai, injuring 2 Reich soldiers. Dropping 2 smoke bombs, she quickly vanished with a shunshin as several Reich soldiers ran after her only to be stopped by Guren's hand. No, let them run. Naruto-sama has ordered us to consolidate our position once we defeat the enemy or make them retreat. The Konoha ninja know the nearby forests better than us. If we follow them, they'll simply keep on ambushing us, increasing our losses. We will fortify our positions and make sure the Konoha ninja can't retake this village. ordered Guren, following Naruto's order to the letter. "Yes, Captain," replied her soldiers faithfully, and fanned out to accomplish their Kage's will. Guy quickly came running towards the secret meeting point where he saw at least 250 Konoha shinobi waiting. There were several civilian families with them, along with prominent members of the prestigious clans. Ones who could not be allowed to be captured by the enemy, or else Konoha would risk losing their unique Kekii Genkai shinobi. He narrowed his eyes when he saw a radio giving out orders to the surviving ninja. None of them appeared to be in good shape. But something was off, because Guy was sure he had seen Rado dying in the stadium or at the very least getting severely injured. And here he was commanding the survivors. "Are these the only ones who survived?" asked Guy suspiciously, and saw Rado giving him a blank stare. "Guy, glad you made it. The Hokage has ordered a full retreat. We must make sure these people are safely shifted towards the daimyo's territory," answered Radio. Deep down the man hoped his genjutsu worked. Itachi Uchiha was never proud of his mastery in genjutsu, but to stand in the midst of so many of his former comrades and so efficiently be able to mask this deception was something he considered a miracle. Guy had his doubts, but there were far more important things on the taijutsu user's mind. Itachi was definitely relieved when Guy spotted the Sarutobi family, particularly Imiko and Konohamaru. He quickly went there to reassure the frightened academy student and his mother. So far, Asuma was missing, which was a bad sign. "Where the fuck is Kakashi?" asked Enko worriedly, and saw a strained look arriving in Itachi's eyes. "He stayed behind. He's helping the Hokage fight against Naruto. They will try to defeat him and maybe push the enemy forces back. We need to get these people to safety," explained Guy sadly, and saw the shock in Enko's eyes. She was about to turn back when a firm hand on her shoulder stopped him, turning around, and she came face to face with the stern gaze of Radio Nagasaki. "You're a ninja, our leader gave us an order. We have to protect these people, look at them," said Radio harshly. Enko saw the fear, anger, and pain in Konohamaru's eyes. The boy had considered Naruto a hero and big brother at one point, and now the same person had destroyed his home, his people, his family. She saw the handful of surviving ninja. They didn't have the numbers to win this battle. Naruto had defeated them in this battle. "I can't leave Kakashi. And there are hundreds of civilians still holed up on the other side of the mountains. Are we going to abandon them?" asked Enko worriedly. "We have no other option but to retreat. The longer we stay, the more we reduce our chances of survival. We're the last soldiers of this village. It is our duty to put our personal feelings aside and do our duty. We must believe that our comrades will come back to us, but now we do what the Hokage wants us to do," explained Rado, disguised Itachi, and smiled when he saw the others giving him sad but faithful nods. Guy frowned when he still felt something off. Everybody was taking all of this too easily. The civilians were not wetting their pants and were instead listening to the ninjas and not accusing them for failing to protect the village. And the remaining Konoha ninja seemed far too willing to abandon their ancestral home and run to safety, not to forget the odd feeling he was getting from Radio. When he saw even Enko agreeing with the decision, he was alarmed. Radio was influencing the others, through a subtle genjutsu. The taijutsu specialist was about to punch himself to break out of the spell, when he came face to face with Rado's hidden Mangekyo, and then everything went blank. Guy's exhausted. Sato took care of him, barked Radio, and sighed in relief when the taijutsu specialist was taken away. If anybody found out who he was, then instead of listening to reason, all of these Konoha ninjas and civilians would march to their doom by fighting against him. He was never more thankful for the one Mangekyo eye that Shursui had given him on that fateful night. Today it had come to the rescue of the last of their people. Even in death, Shursui had protected Konoha again. But even his power on Koto Amatsukami paled in comparison to Naruto's. It was as if the boy was born to wield this genjutsu, and was the only one who had been able to break out of it. It was more than enough to show that probably Naruto possessed the strongest pair of Mangekyo eyes after Madara Uchiha. And it could not be a coincidence. There were many Mangekyo users throughout history, but only a few were powerful enough. Madara and Izuna were considered the strongest. Would Naruto be related to the strongest Uchiha brothers? That would certainly explain why he was so strong at this age. He reminded Itachi or Madara. Shisui was famous for his power of genjutsu, and each of his eyes were now possessed by Naruto and Itachi. Itachi himself had the Mangekyo Sharingan, and he feared the day Sasuke gained one for himself. In the past, he had wanted his brother to attain those eyes to make him pay for what he did to the Uchiha clan. But seeing what the power of Mangekyo had turned Naruto into, Itachi knew Sasuke was far better off without this curse. He so badly wished to go back in time, and change what he did to his little brother that night. He turned Sasuke into the person he was now, and it was completely his fault. And tonight he was making another difficult choice by following the order Hiruzen had given him. There were still more than 4,000 Konoha ninja all across the village, soldiers who were badly injured and needed help. Not to forget the thousands of civilians holed up in the mountains, those who had no idea that they had already been abandoned. Knowing Naruto, he knew what fate awaited all those people. The boy wouldn't kill them, but he would give them a punishment which was far worse than death. But he could not do anything about that now. All he had left was to follow his order. I will protect Konoha and this world to my last breath. I will make sure that the ninja world survives, thought Itachi fiercely. Asuma was bleeding profusely from his chest, thanks to the several kunai wounds he suffered earlier. His breathing was ragged, and vision was a little blurry. He knew he needed to find a medic soon, but had instead helped in evacuating the wounded genin in the village. He had moved from district to district, helping whomever who needed assistance. And suffered grave wounds while protecting his injured comrades. But he didn't have any regrets. His students were successful in making the tactical retreat. He had also been able to divert a handful of medics to get Sakura, Shino, and Kiba out of the village. Although he had not been successful in locating Sasuke or Hinata. He knew his father would not abandon the village. That old man was stubborn. And so was he. He was trying to save whatever few he could, and in doing so his eyes widened in surprise when saw Kurenai lying on a corner of the street. He quickly ran towards her, ignoring the soaring pain in his chest. His trembling fingers checked her pulse and brought a relieved smile on his lips, when he found a faint one. There were minor wounds on her body, and she appeared to be knocked out, but still alive. He didn't know how she got beaten, but it must have been pretty serious. Grabbing her slender form, he was able to position her unconscious form on his back and quickly started retreating towards the forest of death. It was the only place where the Oto ninja wouldn't follow them, and there was a secret passage inside that dangerous place which could lead them out of Konoha. He only hoped enough of his friends had survived. Yuki Haku had seen many things in her life. She was a survivor of a civil war, and had seen her parents die in front of her eyes. Been a missing ninja for years, served under one of the ninja swordsmen of the Mist, captain of the Reich, and a close friend of the Otokage. She never doubted Naruto's decisions, but she somehow always had some concerns when it came to Sasuke. While it was true that both Naruto and Sasuke were radicals, Sasuke took it one step further. Yet even his impulsive behavior could be forgiven for what he had done just now. A heavily wounded Kazekage was lying beneath his feet, as Sasuke gazed at the man impassively. Haku could not comprehend just what went down in their battle. It took little to no effort to surround and capture the little forces the Kazekage had with him. Although the leader had put up a brave fight and killed many Reich soldiers. But everything changed when Sasuke walked out on the field. He merely glanced at the ongoing fight, and asked her to continue throwing her men at the Kazekage. Keeping the man busy, the Uchiha didn't care as 30 Reich soldiers were killed by the strong wind ninja. Sasuke simply watched. Then he vanished. Moments later the Kazekage had a tanto pierced clean through his rib and a suppression seal planted on the back of his head. Everything happened so fast, that she, her soldiers or even the Kazekage could not understand what had happened. One moment Sasuke was standing in one far corner, next he was standing behind the Kazekage. The only thing she could think of was teleportation, an instant one. But Naruto had shot that theory down when she had proposed it for the first time, the day after she had met Sasuke for the first time. She had asked if Sasuke had Mangekyo, and Naruto had told her yes. She even asked about his powers, but Naruto never opened his mouth. He merely shot down all the wild guesses she tried to make. And now seeing the Kazekage down on the ground, alive but bleeding, proved one thing to her. Sasuke Uchiha was the ultimate trump card. He was Naruto's secret weapon. The one who served the night aim from the shadows. While she and the Reich soldiers were frontline troops, Sasuke had been the spy and sabotage specialist in this invasion. He fed them information while staying between the enemy, broke down their defenses when the attack started, captured the priority target Naruto had assigned him without any hesitation or emotional turmoil. The perfect ninja. She felt a cold chill going down her spine when he glanced at her once, before returning his gaze back to his captured target. I just hope you can control his darkness, Naruto. Thought Haku worriedly, she would be ready just in case things went south between the two Uchiha cousins. Jiraiya slowly wiped a trail of blood that was leaking from his forehead. Looking down he saw Gamabunta also didn't seem to be doing too well. If only he was not up against two monsters at the same time. He could go all out and bring the fight in his favor, but the level of destruction to the village would be extreme. And he doubted he could go through with killing Tsunade. It was still hard for him to come to terms with her actions and the choice she had made. He had barely seen her a few months ago, and there was not a fucking sign of any change in her ideology. Until today. Futon Suresu no Tatsumaki, wind release, slicing tornado jutsu. He quickly performed a set of hand seals when Gaara unleashed a massive tornado from his Biju form. Several houses were destroyed completely, dead bodies flowed in the air as Jiraiya finished his preparation. Bunta, oil. His summon didn't need any more explanation as he fired dozens of liters of oil from his mouth, as Jiraiya unleashed a massive fire stream. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire style, fireball jutsu. The combination attack was enough to stop Gaara's destructive jutsu, until Jiraiya's eyes widened in horror when he saw hundreds of acid bullets passing through the burning tornado. They instantly picked up speed and hit Gamabunta straight in the face. Gah! Yelled his toad, as he roughly crashed on top of a large mansion, completely obliterating the structure beneath his giant ass. Sand bullets. Jiraiya quickly performed another set of hand seals when Gaara fired hundreds of large sand bullets from his Biju tail, and if even a few of them hit his summon then it would be dispelled and he would be left alone to fight against a transformed Gaara, and Tsunade with Katsuyu. Doton Doryuhiki, earth release, mud wall jutsu. A large earth wall rose which did well in shielding the injured Gamabunta from Gaara's attack. He could faintly hear Tsunade barking out new orders to her summon. She was going to surround him soon with the help of hundreds of her slug summon clones. Those little bastards would bleed him dry of chakra. If this was not bad news, then he heard the retreat bugle being sounded. At first, he couldn't believe it, but after looking around the grim situation he knew there was no other choice. Jiraiya, get out of here. I can't help you anymore, said Gamabunta painfully. The acid had burned a large part of his face. Go back. I'll summon Gamaken, replied Jiraiya defiantly, making his toad grunt. The same thing will happen to him too. The one-tail monster and Tsunade/Katsuyu duo will kick your ass if you are not going to accept reality. You'll only end up destroying more of the village and get yourself killed. Look at what we've already done, explained Gamabunta irritatedly. For the first time, Jiraiya saw an entire district of Konoha had been destroyed due to their fighting. Surely, Tsunade wouldn't keep on her current course. No, she didn't care anymore. There could be injured people hiding anywhere, and their fighting would get them killed. Not to forget the civilians and dignitaries who had come for the Chunin exams, Konoha ninja had safely escorted them in the mountains. But if one of the foreign delegates were to be killed, then Konoha and Fire Nation would face the wrath of the entire world. Which was exactly what Naruto wanted. Jiraiya's hands trembled as he realized the devious agenda of Naruto Uchiha. He wanted to start the next great ninja war. Make the ninja villages fight against each other, and then slowly seize power one step at a time. The dream of world domination. A true emperor. The earthen wall which he had formed shattered as the monstrous form of Gaara and Tsunade on top of Katsuyu came before him. Jiraiya glared at the woman he had loved all his life, a new set of hatred burned in his eyes as he stared in her impassive eyes. You've made a wrong choice, Tsunade. The next time we meet, you will pay for it. You destroyed my home, my family. You ruined the peace which I worked for all these years, and for that I will take away the person dearest to you, the one who wants to destroy my world. Promised Jiraiya angrily, as a small tear slipped from his eye. Tsunade merely smiled at him, sadness evident in her eyes as she motioned for Gaara to stop. The Jinchuriki seemed hesitant at first, but obeyed the order. Gamabunta disappeared in a puff of smoke, and when it cleared, Jiraiya was gone too. You finally got caught in the cycle of hatred, didn't you, Jiraiya? Asked Tsunade regretfully. Kakashi waited with anticipation, his sharp eyes observing each and every movement made by Naruto. Beside him, Hiruzen was also standing ready for the battle, the tension visible on the Kage's wrinkled face. They tensed when Naruto raised his right hand and flicked his fingers. Boom! Both Konoha ninja turned around, and what they saw made them freeze in terror. The Hokage faces. The monuments that had been there since the birth of Konoha, the symbol of hope and their village's strength, crumbled to pieces. A large explosion on top of the mountain caused a landslide, and Kakashi's Mangekyo Sharingan picked up 4 Oto ninjas having cursed seals standing there. His gaze shifted towards Naruto as a wicked smile came on the boy's lips. What the hell? Asked Hiruzen furiously, the rage visible in his eyes. Kakashi, my hands are already stained dark with blood. If you too wish to fight me, then I'll welcome you with open arms. We are, after all, family, said Naruto deviously, a dark chuckle escaping from his lips. His mad laughter continued soaring as he watched the anger burning in Hiruzen's eyes on seeing the Hokage faces crumbling to dust, taking along with it the Hokage tower. At that moment Naruto realized something. Ever since that day, I've always craved destruction and loss. There is always destruction before creation, and if my soul stands in the way I'll toss it aside, thought Naruto wickedly. He charged towards the 2 shinobi as 4 simple words escaped from his lips. So shall we dance? Kakashi could hardly believe what he was seeing, as he watched the Hokage faces crumble to dust. A new despair washed over his heart. Not only were those monuments the pride of this village, but were also the last line of defense which had been protecting thousands of civilians that were hiding inside the mountains. His eyes stared at Naruto, and looking into the boy's stone-cold gaze made him realize the depth of the boy's conviction. To be willing to commit genocide of this scale, Naruto had truly sold his soul to the devil. Naruto, yelled Hiruzen madly, the leader's face furious with anger and betrayal lurking in his eyes. Do you hate me? Asked Naruto calmly. You demon! Said Hiruzen furiously, as he violently grasped his staff. All that time Naruto had been deceiving him. All that talk of making a pact was a ploy to divert the Hokage's attention so that the Oto ninja could sneak past him, and tears came in Hiruzen's eyes as he tried to imagine his grandson and daughter-in-law among the thousands who had been massacred right before his eyes. The only hope his old heart had was that somehow Itachi could have reached his people before this tragedy happened. Do you still believe in the will of fire? Asked Naruto deviously. Kakashi cursed when Hiruzen dashed towards Naruto. The Hokage was out for blood. All bets were completely off the table now. He actually felt fear for Naruto as Hiruzen got closer and closer, until... That's fine, but... said Naruto hesitantly, the boy's Mangekyo awakened as lethal Kyubi chakra surrounded his entire body. He raised his hands high in the air, while the entire area was shrouded in a new level of killing intent. "My pain is greater than yours," yelled Naruto furiously, slam. His Biju chakra cloaked fist impacted with the ground and Kakashi quickly jumped away when he spotted large amounts of chakra being forced into the ground. A large explosion rocked the entire district, sending Hiruzen sailing away hundreds of meters. Buildings were obliterated, dead bodies turning to dust as an unbearable heat descended upon the area. Kakashi tried to search for Hiruzen, but the impact had knocked the Kage so far off that even Mangekyo couldn't locate him. As the smoke and ashes cleared, Naruto stepped into the field. The Biju chakra was now gone, and sweat was pouring from the boy's forehead. Both warriors looked into each other's eyes, making a silent agreement. In a flash, they were in front of each other. Naruto quickly brought his hands above himself, as Kakashi jumped and kicked him harshly. The copy ninja followed up his attack by sending a severe kick towards Naruto's ribs, which was quickly blocked. Naruto tried to grab his opponent's legs, but had to jump away when Kakashi fired a kunai straight towards his head. "I see your resolve, Kakashi," thought Naruto happily. If he had not evaded that attack, then that kunai would have killed him. Kakashi was really going to fight him to the death. "None of this matters, Kakashi. Eventually, every ninja will turn out like me," said Naruto, a bitter look visible in his eyes. "I couldn't protect you, Naruto. I knew from the start that deep down there was a sea of anger burning inside you. I tried to guide you to a better future, but I failed. The only thing I can do now is to stop you, even if it means killing you with my own hands. I've always loved you like my own son, and always will. I want you to understand that, no matter the path you have chosen or what lies in our destinies, I'll love you forever," explained Kakashi sadly. "So will I, Kakashi," replied Naruto curtly. Barely controlling his feelings, he performed a set of hand seals. Katan, Goka Makyaku, Fire Release, Great Fire Annihilation. With a heavy heart, he fired a tsunami of fire towards a man who was dear to him. Kakashi also managed to finish his preparation, as Hiruzen jumped back into the fight. Both Konoha shinobi fired their attacks at the same time. Katan, Ninsho Misairu, Fire Release, Burning Missile. Suetun, Hanryu, Water Release, Rapid Crasher. Hiruzen unleashed a powerful wave of fire, and Kakashi launched a tidal wave of water at the same time. Their combo attack collided with Naruto's tsunami of fire. At first both the attacks were fighting for dominance until Naruto's fire was finally overwhelmed and eventually destroyed. Kakashi narrowed his eyes dangerously when a thick mist surrounded the entire area, engulfing him and Hiruzen in it. So he converted the moisture generated from our attacks into mist. "A smart move," said Hiruzen seriously. "Hiruzen-sama, guard my back. I have a plan," whispered Kakashi, getting a nod from his leader. The Hokage saw shadows everywhere, his hands gripping the kunai in his pouches. Instead of attacking the shadows, he closed his eyes and let his senses take over. Somewhere in this mist was Naruto, watching them, waiting for the moment to strike. Kakashi didn't know when it started, but he heard a piano tune starting to play. It was gentle at first, slow as a cool breeze. The soft strokes of music calmed his nerves. Slowly he started to relax as the tempo increased and the music intensified. The random tone suddenly started making sense and attracted his attention like a rat to a piper player. Without a word he started walking. His body was on auto command and all he wanted to do was reach the source of the music. Everything else around him had gone blank, all he could feel was the music. An ancient tone that was so compelling and soothing at the same time, a music that took him back to his origins. He saw a shadow waiting for him at the end in the mist. The music was at its peak as he raised his hands to touch the device which was playing it. "Kakashi, no!" The copy ninja was suddenly smacked by the end of a kunai which Hiruzen had thrown at him, breaking him out of his hypnotized trance. As he came back to his senses, a new panic rose in his heart when he didn't see Hiruzen anywhere. He was alone in the mist, separated from his partner. A sound genjutsu. Cursed Kakashi, you're right. Slash. Kakashi jumped at the last moment as the mist around him took form and there stood Naruto with his devious Manjikyu eyes. The boy was the perfect monster of the dark. The ones whom little children would always have nightmares about. By the time Kakashi realized his mistake and jumped, a kunai was planted in the lower area of his back, making him cough up blood. Kakashi crashed harshly on the ground. The pain he felt was unbearable. He grabbed his kunai when another person took him by the arm and made him step back on his feet. Before he could attack the intruder, he came face to face with Hiruzen's hard gaze. Resistance is futile, Kakashi. Just give up and rest. The more you resist, the more your pain will continue to grow in this world. Lies and betrayals are the only thing in this world. Truth is always a casualty of war. You could not protect Obito, Rin, or my father. You couldn't stop my father from dying or even your own father, nor could you stop me from diving into darkness. Don't you understand? None of this was your fault because this is the world we live in. Everything that has happened is due to this fucked up world, and not due to any of your mistakes. Hiruzen grit his teeth when he heard those discouraging words from everywhere in the mist. It was psychological warfare at its best, something which Naruto had learned from fighting against Zabuza and Raiga. What was more alarming was the fact that this move was working against Kakashi. The pain was evident in the wounded ninja's eyes. Kakashi, stand your guard, commanded Hiruzen, snapping his soldier out of his depressed state. I said Kakashi hesitantly, and saw Hiruzen looking into the mist. My name is Hiruzen Sarutobi, I am the Hokage of Konohagakure. Whatever else I am, whatever else it means, that's the man I want to be. And if I die today, then that's the man I'll be. Promised Hiruzen. The confidence returned in Kakashi's eyes when he heard those motivating words. Hiruzen was still willing to fight despite what had happened to his village and his people. Such courage and determination made the old man worthy of the title of Hokage. Yes, sir, replied Kakashi confidently, Kamui. Hiruzen saw Kakashi's Mangekyo spinning quickly and slowly. The entire mist from the area was observed in a strange portal which Kakashi had formed. They saw Naruto casually sitting atop a rooftop. A strange twinkle was visible in the boy's eyes. He didn't expect Hiruzen to break Kakashi out of his depression so easily, and the boy was definitely alarmed when Hiruzen vanished from in front of his eyes. The Kage appeared behind his back and jabbed a kunai straight through the boy's skull, only for him to disappear into a flock of crows. Enough with the genjutsu, Naruto, said Hiruzen, annoyance visible in his voice. The real Naruto appeared on another rooftop which was just a few feet away from Hiruzen. He saw Kakashi jumping on the rooftop behind him, and a smirk came on the Hokage's face as he saw what his opponents were about to do. Hiruzen made the first move by expanding his staff as it headed straight for Naruto's heart. The boy quickly started jumping away but was stopped when Kakashi threw a volley of shuriken at him. Chidori Senbon. Naruto quickly neutralized the weapon attack fired by Kakashi, but wasn't fast enough to stop the punch which he got from Enma, who grew a hand from the staff. Crack! Kakashi channeled lightning through his hand, as Naruto collapsed on his knees. One of the boy's ribs was definitely crushed from that attack. Naruto spat blood on the ground and narrowed his eyes when Kakashi threw a smoke bomb towards him. Naruto's vision went blank, and if not for his sensory powers he would not have been able to evade the staff attack which Hiruzen had aimed for his head. As he sailed through the air, he heard the sound of chirping birds. Chidori. Kakashi emerged behind his back, with his signature move inches away from Naruto's back. The boy reacted instantly and grabbed his mentor's arm, as a smirk came on Kakashi's lips. Bunshin Daibakuha, clone great explosion. Kakashi turned out to be a clone who exploded, causing Naruto to be sent flying away. As the smoke cleared, Hiruzen and Kakashi came side by side. They saw Naruto's body was covered in Biju chakra, which had protected the boy from getting completely incinerated. But as the boy coughed up blood, it proved that he had suffered severe damage. Kakashi gestured towards Hiruzen as the Kage made his staff shrink till it fit right into Kakashi's arm. Hiruzen quickly performed his next move and slammed his hand on the ground. Doton Doryuden, Earth Release, Mud Dragon Projectile Jutsu. The ground beneath Naruto's feet turned into a mud river and a dragon emerged from the slurry surface. Its menacing eyes glaring daggers at him. It wasn't long before the mud dragon started shooting earth bullets at him. His Sharingan made him evade the incoming projectiles and he didn't waste more time. Quickly throwing an exploding tag towards the dragon, he destroyed the attack and jumped back on the hard surface. To his surprise, Kakashi emerged from a hidden alley with a smaller version of Hiruzen's staff. This one looked more like a baton, but Naruto knew the damage this weapon could inflict on him would be fatal. He barely evaded the thrown staff as Kakashi threw the weapon at him with great force, but before he could sigh in relief his eyes widened when he heard someone grabbing the staff from behind. Looking back, he saw it was none other than Hiruzen Sarutobi, and the man was in close range now. Naruto tried to send a punch to send the Kage back, but the old man ducked and gave a series of harsh blows with the help of his staff right between the space of Naruto's legs. If that was not bad enough, Kakashi took the chance and grabbed him from behind. The White Fang Sun lifted Naruto straight off the ground and slammed him back on the hard surface. Naruto felt another set of his bones starting to crack. His legs felt like jelly due to the powerful blows which it had received from the staff-transformed Enma. He snarled viciously when the two powerful Konoha Taijutsu users jumped at him again, ready to initiate another deadly combination attack. Amaterasu. The precise timing proved to be lethal as black flames erupted on Hiruzen's entire left arm. Kakashi instantly stopped when his leader howled in agony. He knew what he had to do to save Hiruzen, but his plans were shot to hell when Naruto appeared behind him and gave him a harsh kick, sending him sailing away. Hiruzen was now on his knees, his staff lying a few feet away. Naruto took out a kunai and fired towards his former commander only to be stopped by Enma, who transformed back into his monkey form. Then, to the utter shock of both the warriors, Hiruzen took a kunai and quickly sliced off his badly burning left arm. The black flames didn't even stop then and continued to burn the severed limb, until it turned to ashes and disappeared in the air. "Sarutobi, you," said Enma in shock, as he saw Hiruzen healing his now armless shoulder. For a moment, Naruto felt guilty when he saw Hiruzen in so much pain. He hesitated as memories of all the good times he had with this old man came back in his heart. His past had been painful. But there were some good times too. Now as he looked towards his future, all he could see was more conflict and an unending pain. He knew the path he had chosen, but it didn't make it any easier for him. Even now as he watched Konoha in ruins, its people dead, dying or injured, its leader in pain, he felt empty. Deep down he knew that he was not like Sasuke. He simply could not fight for revenge. People fought for a better future, to have a brighter tomorrow. But for him there was eternal darkness. His past, his present and his future. All of it was engulfed in darkness and misery. His parents were dead, his friends and family left behind, his comrades were lying in graves, his daughter was long gone. And the most heartbreaking fact was that the woman he loved would probably never be able to accept him. She had chosen to be his enemy. There were limits to a person's endurance capacity. He had long gone. Even now when he had power, status, respect, soldiers, he felt all alone. The hole in his heart was growing bigger every day, trying to swallow him entirely. Day by day he felt himself succumbing to the darkness, his soul vanishing from his body. Slowly he felt himself dying, felt Naruto dying. "Suck it up, Naruto. You can't give up now," thought Naruto. He quickly started jumping from rooftop to rooftop as Enma, now backed up by Kakashi, started chasing after him, trying to lock him in close-quarter combat. Both the warriors had seen him fight and knew very well that together they could inflict serious damage on their opponent. Naruto knew Kakashi was well aware of his weakness. After all, the man was the one who had taught him most of the things he knew. Combine that with Kakashi's Mangekyo and Enma's monstrous strength, Naruto realized he was in trouble. He narrowed his eyes when they made him fall back to the outer edge of Konoha, away from the village. A smirk came on his lips when a wounded Hiruzen appeared behind him. The trio had surrounded him. "You leave me no choice," said Naruto calmly. Quickly biting his thumb, he completed his hand signs and slammed his hands on the ground. There was a large puff of smoke. When the smoke cleared, Kakashi and Hiruzen were surprised to see Naruto standing atop the largest crow they had ever seen in their entire lives. The creature was almost as large as half the area of a district, its shadow looming over a large part of the dense forest. Its sharp eyes were focused on them, as it flapped its wings wildly in the air, sending powerful gusts of wind everywhere. "The time for small fights is over, let's end this once and for all. One way or another," challenged Naruto, getting a nod from Hiruzen. Kakashi bit his thumb and slammed his hand on the ground, while Hiruzen jumped atop Enma, who slowly started getting larger and larger. Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning technique. Enma transformed into a giant monkey, turning into his original size, which he probably used in the summon realm. He was taller than the Hokage mountain which Naruto had just destroyed and larger in size than the toad which Jiraiya had summoned. The bloodthirsty look in the beast's eyes made him look more ferocious, not to forget Hiruzen, who now stood atop of him. On the other side, Kakashi was standing on top of a giant brown-colored dog. It had quite sharp teeth and 5 large tails. Its paws contained long nails, and it was breathing fire from its mouth. The ANBU in Naruto knew he was outnumbered, and compared to the summoned creatures of his opponents, his summon had less firepower. His most powerful crow was fast and gave him air superiority, but... "Enough, Naruto. Fighting is meaningless now, you're done," advised Kakashi. Maybe the boy would listen to him now. "Meaningless?" asked Naruto in disbelief, and glared at his caretaker furiously. "You're injured and outnumbered. The fight is futile, give up," said Hiruzen harshly, as he saw Naruto bleeding profusely from his chest. Enma had really injured the boy by breaking his ribs and damaging his internal organs. The Hokage still found it hard to believe that Naruto was standing. He should be long dead by now. It just proved that the boy was extremely strong and stubborn, just like his mother. Not to forget, he had her temper. In so many ways, the boy reminded him of Kushina. Futile? Then why did Rei die? Why did Shin and Sai die? Asked Naruto bitterly. Neither Kakashi or Hiruzen had any answer for his question. The only thing they could do was to give him guilty looks. "Kakashi, maybe it's not possible for us to coexist peacefully in this world," answered Naruto sadly. "It's still not too late, Naruto. Surrender," insisted Kakashi. Gods, why was the boy being so stubborn even when facing imminent death? "The time we spent may be brief, but it was fun, Kakashi," said Naruto, a gentle smile arriving on his lips. "Naruto? Don't do this, you'll die if you keep on fighting," pleaded Kakashi. Despite everything, he doubted he could bring himself to kill the boy whom he loved more than anything in this world. "You are a Konoha ninja," said Naruto harshly, surprising Kakashi. "Naruto?" Hiruzen closed his eyes when he understood what Naruto's words meant. He looked towards Kakashi only to sign on seeing the man still hell-bent on saving the boy from his death. "I truly wish things didn't have to end this way, Kakashi. My friends and my daughter died because of Konoha, and your friends by my hands," explained Naruto flatly, making Kakashi remember the hundreds of Konoha shinobi killed by Naruto today. At the same time, Naruto remembered all his root friends and Rei who had died one after another directly or indirectly due to Konoha. "That's why there is no need for us to show our guts to each other. Fight with me to the end, Kakashi Hatake challenged Naruto, and saw Kakashi swallowing harshly. Despite everything, both of them were family and close to each other, and it was affecting Kakashi's will to fight against him. Kakashi clenched his fists, as tears threatened to spill from his eyes. This was unbearable. Only now did he understand Naruto's pain. To kill the one dearest to you, that was the test Danzo had made Naruto go through. And now Kakashi was facing the same test, just as he had faced it with Rin. Kill your emotions, Kakashi. Or duty will destroy you, said Naruto compassionately, repeating the words Shin had said to him just before he died. Naruto knew very well that right now he was in the same position as Shin, and Kakashi was facing the exact same dilemma which he had to go through all those years ago in Root. It's easy to hate someone you love, but almost impossible to kill them with your own hands. Naruto, don't make me do this, pleaded Kakashi, tears visible in his eyes. Don't shed a single tear. Didn't I just tell you to kill all emotion from your heart? Asked Naruto angrily. Why couldn't this man just fight and kill him? Why was he hesitating so much when he knew Naruto had destroyed Konoha and hurt his friends? Why? Any further conversation was silenced when Enma made a large jump and was now headed straight for the crow. Shiro, now, commanded Naruto. His crow yelled loudly and created a noisy sound that made Enma grab his ears in pain. The momentary distraction allowed Naruto to jump from his bird and dive straight towards Hiruzen. The Hokage quickly summoned several demon shuriken and threw it towards Naruto. A lot of people have put their faith in me. I won't fail them, thought Naruto passionately. Without a hand sign, another clone emerged ahead of Naruto, who went forward to fire several kunai, effectively cutting off the hidden strings through which Hiruzen had planned to direct his shuriken. As the weapons neared towards them, the shadow clone took the full brunt of the attack, dispelling into a puff of smoke. Chidori Iso, Chidori Spear. Hiruzen's eyes widened in shock when a long electric spear emerged from the smoke. Before he could react, the attack struck its target. H! Yelled Enma in pain. The electric spear had pierced clean through his right eye. The monkey had completely lost sight in one of his eyeballs now. Hiruzen rushed forward to save his partner, but Naruto landed on Enma's head. The electric spear had disappeared from Naruto's hand and now he was wielding his sword. The Hokage's eyes widened in horror when the sword erupted into flames. This is the end for you, Enma, said Naruto calmly. No, yelled Hiruzen desperately, as he jumped towards the boy. Slash. The sword was lodged into Enma's head as Naruto channeled a large amount of his energy into the weapon. If only his opponents knew he was no longer a simple ANBU captain, that he was a Kage-level shinobi. They had underestimated him, and now it was time they paid the price. Taimatsu, flaming torch. Bright flames were born from the sword and they quickly took the form of a sharp spear. The attack seeped deep inside Enma's brain and Hiruzen felt the life fading from his battle partner whom he had known for decades. The Hokage collapsed on his knees as Enma gave a silent scream. Naruto gracefully took out his sword and put it back in its sheath. Hiruzen touched his friend's body, moments before the monkey disappeared from the world forever, never to return. A large puff of smoke was the only thing left of Enma. There was another scream and both Naruto as well as Hiruzen looked on their sides to see Kakashi's dog completely wrapped up in black flames. The beast fell flat on the ground before quickly disappearing into another puff of smoke. Several Reich soldiers had surrounded a wounded Kakashi from all sides. But the thing which shocked Hiruzen was Sasuke standing atop a hawk, with a pair of Mangekyo eyes. Naruto grit his teeth in frustration. He should have known. Sasuke never backed down from a fight, and certainly not the one in which his best friend's life was at stake. It was besides the fact that Sasuke wanted to destroy the ninja world even more than Naruto. Looking towards Hiruzen, the Otokage realized he had to end this quickly. Or Sasuke would do something from which there was no coming back. As much of a pain in the ass the Uchiha boy was, Naruto considered Sasuke his family. The only one among few who had stuck by his side, unlike a few others. The sunlight vanished from the sky as the dark clouds hid the sun. Slowly rain started falling from the sky, drenching the burning land. The eyes of the last two warriors connected with each other. A faint smile came on Hiruzen's lips as he saw Naruto walking towards him. Pain was evident in the boy's eyes, yet there was a strange sense of conviction in them. Naruto truly believed that this was the only path left for him. The boy hesitated for a moment, before looking at the man whom he once loved as his own grandfather. "Your people are not dead, they'll live," confessed Naruto, and saw relief arriving in Hiruzen's eyes. So the boy had done all that to make him angry, and the tactic had worked brilliantly. Naruto truly was a master of deception and the best liar Hiruzen had ever seen. "You kept your word, said the Hokage hesitantly, his eyes becoming moist. "Will you surrender?" "I'll be fair," suggested Naruto. A tiny hope still lingered in his heart, which was quickly extinguished as Hiruzen gave him a sad smile. "You're an honorable man, Naruto. You surpassed me, surpassed Kakashi. You of all people can understand the burden of my command, just don't make my people pay for my mistakes," requested Hiruzen, and saw Naruto struggling hard to control his tears. "I promise." Naruto took out his sword, as Hiruzen fell down on his knees. The Kage was tired, his wounds were severe and his frail body couldn't fight any longer. Even now he could feel that Naruto had held back, the boy had not unleashed his full power. Despite the hatred he had for Konoha, Naruto had been merciful. The boy's hands trembled as he pointed his sword towards Hiruzen. He couldn't control his tears any longer as they slipped from his eyes. "Do not fear, this is the path you have chosen. Compared to your pain, mine will be instant. The path ahead of you is full of struggle and sorrow, but I know you will walk it. And one day your suffering will come to an end, just as mine ends today," advised Hiruzen kindly. Naruto steeled his resolve and plunged his sword deep into Hiruzen's chest, as the veteran Hokage smiled. The blow was so quick that Hiruzen had never felt the pain. With shaking hands he touched the crying boy's face and wiped away the tears falling from his eyes. "Go live my share too," said Hiruzen, a dry chuckle escaping from his lips. Naruto fell down on his knees. He gently removed the sword from Hiruzen's chest and enveloped the man in a tight hug. He heard Hiruzen smiling even as heavy sobs escaped from his mouth. "I forgive you, Gigi," said Naruto tearfully, as Hiruzen placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "You truly are a kind child." Hiruzen stopped breathing, his motionless form collapsing completely in Naruto's arms. Haku stood in a distance and saw the son of the fourth Hokage cry tears of sorrow as he cradled Hiruzen's body in his arms. The battle was over, but his war had just started. Several Raik and Oto ninja came forward as Naruto made them lift Hiruzen's corpse on their shoulders. He still had tears in his eyes as he gave a firm salute to his fallen commander. His men followed suit and joined their leader in paying respect to the Hokage who had fought, bled and died for his village. "One day the ninja world will fade and crumble, yet you will always be remembered in my heart and in the hearts of those who carry your will," Hiruzen Sarutobi promised Naruto. As his soldiers took the fallen leader's corpse away, Naruto saw images of Shin, Sai, Rei, and all his deceased friends and family standing on the other side of the river. He even saw his parents standing there, and the familiar face of Hiruzen who gave him a smile. All of them were smiling at him. "We shall meet again." But not yet, not yet. The cool breeze hit his skin, sending pleasant sensations across his body, his long blonde hair wildly flowing in the air, effectively shadowing his entire face. He really needed a haircut, that thought alone made him smile. He was wearing a dark blue jacket which was the only thing protecting him from the cold weather of the night, and small shorts were protecting the lower half of his body. His scarf was missing as he allowed his pale, handsome face to feel the beauty of nature. The cigarette in his right hand was burning idly. It had already burned halfway through and yet he had not taken a single puff despite the cold weather. "One day your suffering will come to an end, just as mine ends today." He still remembered Hiruzen's dying words, his last message for him. It had almost been a week since that day, but he still remembered each and everything that had happened. It was imprinted deeply inside his brain. Now as he observed the reconstruction of Konoha, it made him wonder how much things were going to change. Not just for this village, but for Suna too. Tobi had again surprised him. The Akatsuki leader had defeated the Suna defense forces. The Sand Village was now effectively under his control. Just 2 days back he had appointed Gaara as the new leader of that village. The Kazekage's youngest child would govern the Wind Country, and would only be answerable to Naruto himself. Sound Country was already being ruled by him, and with the fall of Konoha he had already captured more than half of Fire Nation. The pieces were already falling into pieces and he was on his way to become the first emperor of the world. The drums of war were beating loudly every day. The defenders of the ninja world were up in arms against him, while the reformists who wanted change had aligned on his side. It was a worldwide civil war, or revolution. Those are not good for your health. He threw the cigarette down the cliff as Haku came beside him. On the outside she seemed like her normal self, beautiful, calm, and carried herself with such grace which he had only seen in Kurenai. Yet he could sense the annoyance in her heart, and with good reason. "You've been avoiding me," said Haku flatly, as he simply stared at the village. "I've been avoiding a lot of things. You're just one of them," answered Naruto, no hesitation visible in his voice. "Are you okay, Naruto?" asked Haku worriedly, and saw him smile that serene smile which she had come to love. "I'm dealing with my issues. The Battle of Konoha changed me in more ways than you can imagine," explained Naruto, gaining an inquisitive look from her. "You forgave Hiruzen, after everything he did to you. You spared the lives of all the civilians who abused you for years." "Why?" asked Haku. She clearly seemed frustrated with the choices he had made. And she was not the only one. Majority of his soldiers, supporters, even Sasuke disagreed with the choices he had made. A tired sigh escaped from his lips. He never expected them to understand why he did it but was glad they accepted his decision regardless of their misgivings. Turning towards her, he saw the same bitterness in her eyes which he had once when he learned the truth of Rei's death. Both of them were alike, in more ways than anyone could imagine. He saw himself in her. Gently putting a hand on her cheek he pushed away a strand of hair that was falling over her face. "Life's too short for revenge and grudges. We have to let go sometimes, or we ourselves would be crushed under the burden," said Naruto kindly. "I once had a loving family. Wonderful parents who loved each other and cared for me. Then the civil war started and my father found out my mother was a member of the Kekii Genkai clan. Just like Hiruzen, he forgot all the bonds we shared and sided with the Bloody Mist village. He tried to kill my mother and me, and my mother had to sacrifice her life to save mine. The man I once loved more than anything betrayed me and made me an orphan. There are some things which can be forgiven and some that can't," explained Haku bitterly. Pain and anguish was visible in her voice and words. She closed her eyes when he hugged her, his broad arms and warm chest giving her comfort. He simply held her against him and the pain seemed to wither away. "Seems we both have fucked up families. If it makes you feel any better, my parents sealed a monster in me." "Talk about tough love," joked Naruto, as she chuckled at his sarcastic remark. "It must have taken a lot of courage to make the decisions that you've made till now. You never cease to amaze me," said Haku truthfully. He let go of her and now stood beside her, their eyes observing the peaceful village. It was hard to believe that it was ground zero of a full-scale war barely a few days ago. "I did it for myself. I wanted to remember Hiruzen for the man I loved once, and I saw a glimpse of that man at the end. He had suffered too, Haku. I loved him, he was family. He asked for my forgiveness, and even if he hadn't I would have still forgiven him. Regardless of his intentions, Hiruzen was one of the few people who showed me kindness. He took me in his home, gave me a family, and had my back. Sure, he did make a mistake, but he did more for me than my parents ever did. I will never forget that. For me, Hiruzen will always be the kind, gentle grandfather who guided me, and not the harsh Hokage who put duty above family," stated Naruto clearly. "And the villagers? They didn't ask for forgiveness, they still hate you. Even more now," said Haku. "They are of no concern to me. They've already paid the price for their mistake by losing their freedom. They're slaves and I am their ruler. That's the harshest punishment they can get. The boy whom they hated more than anything now rules over them. Talk about karmic justice, the same goes for Gaara. After years of living a hellish life, I've returned with only one goal." "What is it?" "To save my dying world," answered Naruto, determination burning in his eyes. "Naruto. But to do so, I can't be the killer I once was. To honor my friend's memory, I must be someone else. I must be something else." Haku smiled on hearing his goal. This was just like him. The more she tried to understand the mystery which was Naruto, the more she fell in love with him. "I sometimes wonder how can you endure everything. I don't know what I would have done if I was in your place," said Haku calmly. "I don't have a choice, Haku. From the start people have looked to me for leadership, for me to take the lead. I can't afford the luxury of falling to pieces, I have to make the right decisions. If I grieve or indulge in my personal wishes, the others don't get to do that," explained Naruto seriously. "You're still a human being, Naruto. You're allowed to have feelings, you can't hide behind your mask forever." "I'm not," said Naruto defensively. "Then what about us, Naruto? Where do we stand?" asked Haku straightforwardly. She saw surprise in his eyes for getting right to the point. He took a deep breath and aimlessly glanced at the dark sky. He waited for a few moments before looking back at her. "It is because of the life that I live, I can't be with the people I love. I just can't," said Naruto sadly, and she grasped his arms. Her gaze was fierce, yet it had a desire in it, the same one which he had seen in Kurenai once. "When I looked into Hiruzen's eyes that day, I realized something. One day it will be me, this life, that I have chosen, it only ends one way," answered Naruto calmly. His voice was heavy as he looked away from her. He couldn't look in her eyes right now, because if he did he would crumble, and that was the last thing he wanted right now. "So, that's it? You're just gonna spend the rest of your life running away from love? You're doing the same thing to me which Kurenai did to you." "I'm sorry, I can't agree with you on this. Because from the things that have happened in my life, I have learned that life is precious and there is so much more I want from it than just this crusade," said Haku harshly, and started walking away from him. "Haku, I'm really sorry dash. Save it. Don't come talking to me for anything other than professional duty. We're done talking until you stop isolating yourself, stop being a tragic hero," said Haku angrily. "I don't expect you to understand, but I want to protect you," said Naruto calmly. "I don't need your protection. Every idiot realizes his mistake one day, you will too in time. When that day comes, I will be waiting. Until then, we're done," said Haku harshly. "Why are you doing this, Haku?" asked Naruto painfully, making her scoff. "It is for your own good. Deep down your desire is to have a family someday, a wife, children, and live the rest of your days in peace. But you're so afraid of becoming like your parents, of making the same mistakes they did, that you push everyone away. You're a good man, but you're a fucking idiot," yelled Haku fiercely. She surprised him by coming forward and giving a bone-crushing punch to his gut. Before he could reel in the shock, she grabbed his face and kissed him. He had barely felt the touch of her lips, before she turned around and started walking away. Her words had hit straight home, and he knew she was right. As she took each step away from him, he knew she was getting further away from him. He was losing her, just like he had lost Kurenai. Could he truly stop the past from repeating itself? Could he truly not become like his parents? Could he be the man she wanted him to be? "Haku." A frustrated snarl escaped from her lips, but she stopped. She heard him walking towards her, and after a deep sigh she turned around and looked at him harshly. "What?" snapped Haku, making him flinch. "Calm down. Just, give me some time to think about this," requested Naruto, but she shook her head. "I've already given you more than enough time. You just can't make up for your fucking mind," answered Haku. "Why are you cursing so much? You never do that," said Naruto meekly, as she rolled her eyes in exasperation. "Because that's what people do when they're pissed. Which I am right now. You say you are different from your other rude comrades, but you're just as dumb. You can't understand the emotions of people, much less the love of a woman. Danzo fucked up your mind completely, or you're just a dumbass," replied Haku teasingly, and smirked when his eyebrows twitched. "You're being mean, Haku," complained Naruto. "And what are you going to do about it?" "Command me to go away." Naruto Uchiha commands you to not love him, because he's afraid of love and women. "I can totally see you doing that," mocked Haku. "Oh, I like her already. She's got balls." "Ugh, that came out wrong," said Kurama bemusedly, his laugh irritating his container even more. "God damn it, Kurama. Don't make me regret giving you free will again," replied Naruto irritatedly. "Is that what you call forgiving me? Free will? Because last I checked I'm still locked up in a cage," retorted the fox sarcastically, but deep down the fox knew he was in this boy's debt. Naruto was far more merciful and kind than the fox had imagined him to be. After his ordeal with Hiruzen, the boy had come to his cage. Kurama, who had seen the entire conversation with Hiruzen, had simply asked for forgiveness. He could still remember Naruto looking at him with those calculative eyes. "Just stop being miserable, you annoying fox." Kurama had never laughed so hard as that day in centuries. Things were still a little frosty between them. They were a long way from trusting each other, at least Naruto was. But the boy had taken the first step towards reconciliation. After months of being pissed at his best friend and partner, Naruto had finally decided to forgive him. He needed the fox, just as much as the fox needed the boy. "What do you think of her? Of all of this? Am I making the right choice?" asked Naruto doubtfully. "I don't know about that. But what I do know is that if you turn away now, then you'll be making a big mistake. You took a leap of faith with me. She has done more for you than I ever did," advised Kurama, as the boy sighed. "I'm fucked up, Kurama. I just don't want to let her get hurt, from anything. Even if it means from myself," said Naruto worriedly. "Maybe. But she will definitely be crushed if you push her away. You need her as much as she needs you. And Naruto, before you make a decision, I want you to know that possibly there will come a day when Kurenai sees what Haku sees right now. What will you do then? Think about it," suggested Kurama. Naruto was silent for a few moments. He had not left a single loophole in sealing Kurenai's memory on her request. She would never remember what they were, but if somehow she did and came back to him, then what? "Oh, fuck," thought Naruto tiredly. "We'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, said Naruto hesitantly. The boy was clearly conflicted. "I understand. Good luck." "And Naruto, thank you," replied Kurama gratefully, making the boy smirk. "You owe me one. More than one, my friend." Haku flicked his forehead, making him snap out of his trance. He glared at her, but she returned his action with equal passion. Their little staring contest continued for a minute before Naruto wrapped his arms around her. "I love you, Haku." He had finally said it, after months of flirting and dancing around. After repeated denials and attempts to push her away, he had said the truth in the most unromantic, idiotic, lazy and careless way. She was probably out of her mind when she felt her heart overcoming with joy. Tears came in her eyes as she wrapped her arms around him. Her legs felt weak, but he held her. "You're an idiot, but you're my idiot," said Haku, tears falling from her eyes. He looked in her eyes as she saw the fear in him. He was afraid of falling in love again, afraid of hurting her. She could see he still blamed himself for the way things ended with Kurenai. But what he didn't understand was that Kurenai made her choice. She chose to be a true Konoha ninja. And Haku chose him, for her Naruto was her home, a person whom she could find shelter and solace in. And the same could be said for him. I don't know how we're going to do this, or where we go from here. But I will try, Haku. I really will. Promised Naruto, and she smiled on hearing his honest answer. We're both fucked up, Naruto. I've lived a crazy life, and your heart is already broken by another woman. She still holds that heart, and there is nothing I can do which can change that. But what I do know is that I want this, badly. I want us. Said Haku possessively, as her lips kissed his cheek passionately. He let her kiss him, across his cheeks, across his neck. For a moment, he remembered the love between him and Kurenai. Then the memory where she chose Konoha over him. She was his first crush, first love, the woman he had loved truly and always will. But something's probably never meant to be. He had to stop living in denial. He had to accept reality and move on. Kurama was right. All his life he had lived for others, for the village, for his friends, for family, for Kurenai. He never let his desires flourish, because they were not important. But Haku had taught him life was too short. He had even seen it in Hiruzen's eyes. Naruto himself had lived a life full of regrets, and he doubted he could continue adding up to his list of regrets. Maybe this was selfish, but he needed this as much as Haku. He needed someone. He didn't want to be alone. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the memories of the past into a deep part of his heart. It will always be there. That love which he had for Kurenai will never go away, but he had to start living in the present. Just like Kurama had said, a leap of faith. Taking that jump, he grasped her cheeks and looked into her eyes. She was as beautiful as the moon. For a moment he got completely lost in her beauty. He was not much of a romantic person, but right now he felt he could stare in her deep blue eyes for eternity and die a contented man. But he wanted more, so he bent down and claimed her lips. He felt her smiling as she melted into the kiss. By now he realized she was no novice. He kissed her gently first, just as she liked it. He let them enjoy the sensations of their lips touching each other. Slowly he deepened the kiss. By now, Haku had taken the lead and pushed her tongue against his. They pushed harder, each of them struggling for dominance. He silently smirked when he overwhelmed her and gained his victory. She smiled into the kiss and wrapped her arms around his neck. His arms snaked around her waist and he lifted her up. Haku quickly entangled her legs around his waist as he held her against him closely. Words couldn't describe how happy he felt in this moment. He felt at peace. For the first time in months, he felt free. He was truly living a real life now. That emptiness which had emerged in his heart during the fight against Hiruzen slowly vanished. He realized that the emptiness was always there in his life from the start. It was Kurenai's love at first that filled that hole. Now that it was gone and the hole had started to grow, another loving woman had come into his life. She had healed him. He thanked the gods for letting him be lucky in this area of his life. He gently broke the kiss after a few minutes, and Haku saw his eyes were moist on the corners. "What's wrong?" asked Haku worriedly. She put her hands on his cheeks and stroked away the strands of blonde hair that were falling over his face. "Nothing, I'm just happy. Truly happy," said Naruto, a bright smile visible on his handsome face. "You're not messing with me, are you, mister?" asked Haku teasingly, as he shook his head. "Thank you for being so harsh with me. I would have probably made a huge mistake if I had let you go tonight. The truth is I need you much more than you need me. I'm just a little thick-headed and stubborn," said Naruto embarrassingly, a blush creeping up on his cheeks. "Just a little," teased Haku, as he rolled his eyes. "Fine, a lot. Are you happy now?" asked Naruto sarcastically, and received a kiss in reward. Much. He kissed her again, and this time she felt the desire awaken in her. He was not faring much better, as she felt his hardness against her ass. A blush crept up on his cheeks. It was hard for him to control his desire. He looked into her eyes asking the unsaid question, and without a second thought she gave him an eager nod. "Let's have some fun together, Your Highness," teased Haku, saying the last part huskily near his ears. He leaned closer to her, his lips now kissing her ear, gently eliciting a brief moan from her. "Your wish is my command, my captain," said Naruto teasingly, holding her tightly. He made them shunshin to Kakashi's old apartment. The place was empty since Kakashi and Enko had moved into a bigger apartment, not that it mattered right now since Kakashi was enjoying the cold cell of a nice jail. He still had to deal with that issue in the morning. Kami knew how much he had to force Sasuke to stop him from killing Kakashi. Talk about a revenge-obsessed person. Naruto wondered whether his decision to tell the truth of the Uchiha massacre to Sasuke was the right move or not, but he had done it regardless. He had also told Sasuke about his rude past. His best friend had listened to everything and said only 5 words. "I need some time alone." It had been a week and Sasuke had never left the Uchiha clan compound. Naruto had asked Guren to keep an eye on his friend, and she had reported seeing Sasuke walking aimlessly through his clan territory every day. Sometimes the boy would stare into homes, reminiscing memories. Naruto knew his friend needed help. Sasuke was already impulsive. If he didn't receive help, his friend might just go batshit crazy. And a crazy Sasuke was not good for anyone's health. "Kurama, remind me to talk to lazy Kakashi and emo Sasuke tomorrow," said Naruto absently, as he kicked open the door of the apartment, making Haku laugh. "Do I look like a damn secretary to you?" asked Kurama irritatedly, as a devious smirk came on the boy's face. "No, you're not my secretary. You're my bitch," joked Naruto, and laughed, and the fox slammed his tails against the cage bars. "Let me out and have a one-on-one fight, you puny human." Naruto cut off the link, but he still felt Kyubi yelling obscenities and curses at him. Meanwhile, Haku was simply staring at him as he carried her inside the apartment, still holding her lovingly in his arms. She realized that he was the one. He was her destiny. It didn't matter to her right now that he had loved another woman in the past. All that mattered was that he loved her now and she was his princess. She was in his arms, and tonight this was how it was meant to be. She slipped her arms around his neck and turned her face up to his. They weren't in an exotic garden at twilight, but this was how it was meant to be. She knew the moment his lips met hers that he had always been her destiny. The kiss was everything she had dreamed it would be, gentle as a whisper, almost hesitant at first, and then as he felt her response it deepened. Naruto Uchiha knew how to kiss. Her body, barely touching his in the beginning, seemed to melt against his without any effort on her part. The kiss deepened again as lips and tongues melded. She had waited for him for a reason. There was only one way this night was going to end for them. Naruto wanted to pull her clothes off and devour her, right there, right this minute, but he knew he couldn't. He had to do this gently. He had to take his time. Slowly, though, and by degrees, by kisses and then by touches, he realized that Haku might be a virgin, but she wasn't entirely inexperienced. Her knowledge coupled with her innocence was like an added aphrodisiac to him. They left a trail of clothes as they progressed from the kitchen to the bedroom until they were finally naked on the bed. She was the beautiful, blue-eyed girl of his dreams, the girl who had given him the gift of love with her kiss, and he wanted her more than anything in the world right now. And yet at the moment she was ready for him, when her hands and lips and whispered words were urging him to complete the act they had started, he hesitated. At first Haku couldn't understand Naruto's hesitation, and then she understood it completely. In the end she was the one who pushed him onto his back and straddled him. He tried to say her name, but she leaned over him and put her mouth on his. It wasn't Kurenai Yuhi's name she wanted on his lips at this moment but hers. However, now was the wrong time to be jealous about a woman from the past. She was awkward, but she managed to accomplish what he had hesitated to do. The sharp intake of her breath was involuntary. She stopped and held herself still as she grew accustomed to this new feeling, not quite pain this first time, but not quite pleasure either. I'm sorry, Naruto said. I don't want to hurt you. I would never hurt you. I know you wouldn't. Haku kissed him again. He was the man she loved. She knew he would never hurt her. That's why he had hesitated, but when it came to love, someone had to be the first, and for her it was Naruto. She was so ready that she didn't have to move much after that, and then it was better than anything she had ever felt before in her life. Naruto tried to wait. He really tried, but this beautiful blue-eyed girl had wrapped herself around him, had taken him in all her innocence, and he had waited for her for so long that he couldn't wait any longer. He shut his eyes and surrendered to the feeling. The only thing that even remotely compared to it was the way he felt when he had been with Kurenai. Afterward he couldn't hold her close enough. He couldn't stop gently stroking her hair. He must be doing something right to have found a wonderful girl like her, to have her here in his arms, to be the first man she had ever let love her like this. An hour later, both of them lay exhausted in bed. Their bodies wrapped up against each other. Haku had placed her head on his chest and was constantly listening to his breathing. One of his hands was gently rubbing her bare back, while the other was running soft strokes across her cheek. Neither of them had said a word, and were simply enjoying the silence and the beauty of the cool night. Deciding to be bold, he gently cupped her chin and made her look up at him. There was a serene smile on his face, which made her smile too. Would you like to go out for dinner sometime? Asked Naruto hesitantly. Are you asking me out on a date, Naidame? Questioned Haku mischievously, as he rolled his eyes. Yes. Your wish is my command. The door to his cell opened slowly and the familiar figure of Naruto walked inside. A knowing smirk came on Kakashi's face when he saw the look in Naruto's eyes and on his face. Even in his prisoner uniform, Kakashi still managed to look like the same masked ninja he had always been. I know that look, said Kakashi coolly, as Naruto looked up at the ceiling. I don't know what you're talking about, replied Naruto evasively. Come on. Admit it, you got laid yesterday, said Kakashi flatly. No, I didn't. Oh, please. Come on, just give me a few details. Was it hot? Give me something, Naruto. You even took away my precious, whined Kakashi, as Naruto rolled his eyes. Sometimes he wondered who was the adult between them. You know I can't let you have any piece of paper or pen. It wouldn't take you a second to write some information and send it to your defeated comrades with Pakin's help, stated Naruto flatly. It was Kakashi who rolled his eyes and lifted his shackled arms, and the chakra suppression seals on them were a dead giveaway to his helpless state. Nope. You're too smart and sneaky to be given any freedom. I know you better, Kakashi, said Naruto seriously, as the copy ninja gave him an eye smile. I can't live without my precious, complained Kakashi, making Naruto sigh. Look, I'll give you your damned book if you agree to join me, even let you go out and live like a normal ninja of my army, offered Naruto. Are you going to let me go? Enko will be missing me, said Kakashi smartly, and was surprised when he saw a cold look arriving in Naruto's eyes. I've already repaid my debt to her. I don't owe her anything else, so you can forget about playing that card. Then why didn't you kill me? You know why. Sasuke would have gladly done it, if you didn't want to do it yourself. Leave him out of this. He's already fucked up enough. Oh, he is. I'll make this clear. You're not going back to your comrades, and I'm not killing you. Unless you join me, you can rot in this prison. Knowing you, without your precious you'll go crazy in maybe another week. You wouldn't. I will, and you know it. Tell you what, you join me and I'll not let a tiny harm come on Anko. No matter the situation. Tempting, but you're not gonna harm her anyway. I know it. Team. Got under your skin, didn't I? If you're in such a hurry, why not just cast your ultimate genjutsu on me? Make things easier for yourself. For the first time Kakashi saw something different in Naruto's eyes. He didn't want to conquer him, but wanted to persuade him. I'll come by tomorrow, said Naruto seriously, and saw Kakashi staring at him. I'll think about your offer, replied Kakashi finally. Very well. At least tell me about the girl. Is it Guren? Asked Kakashi teasingly, and saw Naruto rolling his eyes. No. Tayuya? Are you crazy? Karen? Gross. Tsunade? Oh, you lucky bastard, Jiraiya would be so jealous. She has nice assets. I'll kill you, Kakashi. Not her, damn. Oh my god, Sasuke. I'll burn your precious to ashes. No. Okay, someone else, that right, Captain? What was her name? Haku? Kakashi narrowed his eyes when Naruto looked the other way. A smirk came on his face as he finally got the truth out of his adopted son or brother, whatever both of them preferred to call each other. I'm happy for you, said Kakashi honestly, a true smile visible on his face. You are? Asked Naruto, surprise visible in his eyes. Of course, why wouldn't I be? Your ambition is different from your personal life, and you've been through a lot. Kurenai is not coming back either, so, yeah, you do get a free pass and my blessing, said Kakashi happily. You're not a priest. But I'm your father, no scratch that your elder brother. Dad seems too old for me, said Kakashi nonchalantly. Fair enough, Nissan. Happy now? Asked Naruto sarcastically. See you tomorrow, said Kakashi coolly, but Naruto sensed the lingering hope in the man's voice. Living in a jail was not a pleasant experience, but it was better than being dead or being one of Naruto's mind-controlled soldiers. You know I won't leave you, replied Naruto comfortingly, as Kakashi gave him an eye smile. Stay safe, Naruto. You too, Kakashi. Hey, it's not like I'm going anywhere. You better not, because I just received the latest ICHA Desert Safari Edition. The door to the cell quickly closed and just in time as Kakashi leaped like a monkey and grabbed the bars tightly. He saw Naruto running away and the boy's laughter was echoing across the entire cell block while Kakashi screamed. Give me precious. Sasuke was idly staring at the blank wall of his room. In a matter of a few months his life had been turned completely upside down. He was now a traitor of his village, had murdered more people than all his classmates ever could. Had subdued a Kage, helped his new leader win an invasion. His best friend turned out to be a secret ANBU captain, and just thinking about Naruto's story made his head spin. The blonde idiot was more fucked up than him. The difference was that Naruto could control his hatred while he couldn't. His own elder brother had massacred their clan because it was a mission. The Uchihas were planning to rebel, and now that he knew why, he was glad Konoha was destroyed, or he would have done it with his own 2 hands. He would have murdered every man, woman and child, and he would have laughed in front of their corpses. If previously he hated Uchiha Itachi, now he wanted nothing more than to rip that man to tiny shreds. Despite all the injustice done to the Uchiha clan, Itachi had remained loyal to a corrupt village. He murdered their parents, their mother for Konoha. I swear to you, Itachi. I'll hunt you down to the bottom of hell itself, and I will kill you. I will kill every single Konoha ninja, civilian. You will pay for what you did to father, mother, and my clan. Thought Sasuke fiercely. Yo. Just what I need, another Kakashi clone, said Sasuke irritatedly, and saw Naruto sitting on the window of his room. God, the boy was so much like Kakashi that sometimes it freaked him out. And just what I need, meeting an emo in the morning, retorted Naruto coolly. then go away. Nobody asked you to come here. Jerk. Bitch. So are your marbles in place? Or do I need to go call Tsunade? Asked Naruto seriously, his voice losing all playfulness. Sasuke wanted nothing more than to be left alone, but looking into Naruto's stubborn gaze was enough to show him he was not going to win this battle. His best friend was one of the most stubborn people he had ever known. I'm fine. Lied Sasuke, making Naruto snort. And Jiraiya is not a pervert. Replied Naruto sarcastically, what do you want? Got a little party tonight. All officers will be there, I want to introduce you to them, maybe get you familiar with a few interested girls, hinted Naruto, and saw the irritation in Uchiha's eyes. I'll pass. I'm not asking, Sasuke-chan. Stop being annoying, Naruto. Leave me alone. Not an option. You still want to kill Itachi? Asked Naruto quickly, he just had a plan that might work. What makes you think I don't? Questioned Sasuke heatedly, making Naruto raise his hands in surrender. Just asking. Sure, killing Itachi Uchiha has been added to Reich's hit list. I'll take him down. This is my business. Not before I give you some training. You're tough, but I've fought with your brother. I know how he fights, and frankly in your current state he'll kick your ass. Stated Naruto frankly. Naruto smirked when he saw Sasuke's interest peaking. Now came the time to seal the deal. Gods, he was an awesome manipulator. Tell me everything you know about him. Jutsu, weapons, everything. Demanded Sasuke. The boy was certainly persistent. One condition. There's always a fracking catch. Complained Sasuke, as Naruto raised his eyebrows. Fracking? You meaning fucking, right? Asked Naruto curiously, that word's old. Fracking sounds much better and modern. Said Sasuke triumphantly, and was surprised when Naruto shrugged. Sure, fracking it is then. Remind me to make the necessary changes in literature and history. Replied Naruto coolly, and saw a faint smile arriving on Sasuke's lips. You sure you aren't Kakashi disguised as Naruto? I can hardly make the difference. Said Sasuke teasingly, hey, I lived with that masked bastard for years. I inherited a lot of things from him. Most of them are annoying. What was that? Nothing. What do you want from me? I want information on Itachi, and you to train me, said Sasuke begrudgingly. If there was one thing noticeable about Sasuke was the boy's pride. He was a true Uchiha, arrogant, egoistic, loner through and through. Not that Naruto was much better, but he had some Senju blood in him. So he was balanced, so to speak. At least that was what the Nidaime Otokage believed. You'll not be a loner. I'm officially appointing you as my Knight of Honor. You'll accompany me to all diplomatic, strategic meetings, and social occasions. That includes parties, and hanging out with the girls I choose for you. Said Naruto happily. The expression on Sasuke's face made him want to die laughing. You want me to be your bodyguard and your playboy? Asked Sasuke incredulously. You are more than qualified for the first position, and I need someone strong and powerful to watch my back. Who better than my best friend? And the second position, you were already a playboy ever since the academy. So it shouldn't make much of a difference now. Said Naruto nonchalantly. By now he could see little smoke coming from Sasuke's ears. The boy was fracking pissed. And if I refuse? Asked Sasuke defiantly. He would be damned if he lost so easily. Oh, your loss. I'll just tell every female in the empire that you're gay, even print your photo in the special magazine for men. Then you'll have an entire army of fanboys after you, and down goes the dream of reviving the Uchiha clan. Threatened Naruto, and laughed when he saw all the color draining from Sasuke's face. You wouldn't. Said Sasuke, even his voice was trembling at this point. The boy gulped nervously when Naruto gave him his famous prankster smile. Try me, just try me, Yuki-chan. Sasuke glared daggers at Naruto. If looks could kill, Naruto would be ashes. Instead, the blonde devil was whistling idly. The bastard knew he had won the argument. Fine. We have a deal, said Sasuke begrudgingly, and saw Naruto clapping happily. $1 million smile was visible on that blonde idiot's face. Finally, I'll get you laid with one of the girls tonight. It will be freaking awesome, said Naruto creepily, making Sasuke take a step back. I never agreed to that, and fracking is my word, said Sasuke quickly. Not anymore. And oh, you did agree to sleeping with beautiful girls. See Clause 7 of our contract, replied Naruto playfully, as he tossed a scroll to Sasuke which had many conditions written in it. You're crazy. I prefer the term extraordinarily smart. I swear I'll kill you for this one day, Naruto. I swear to the gods, promised Sasuke, embarrassment evident on his face and in his eyes. Naruto turned around and gave Sasuke a playful wink which further infuriated his best friend. You can try. But until then you're my bitch. The party starts at 7. Be there. I don't want my bodyguard to be late. And your partner for tonight is Karen. Naruto quickly jumped away from the window as a kunai barely passed over his head. He could hear Sasuke cursing him loudly, which only made him chuckle. The horrified look on Sasuke Uchiha's face was priceless. Karen had fallen in love with Sasuke the minute she saw his handsome face. It was quite a relief for Naruto to lose a fangirl of his own. Not so much fun for Sasuke. The mere thought of Karen pestering Sasuke for hours and having her way with him satisfied Naruto's deepest fantasies. Maybe he had been around Enko for too long. He was definitely a sadist. You need to keep his darkness in control. Otherwise he might become a threat. He still remembered Haku's words. She had suggested he remove Sasuke from the plan since he was unstable. But Naruto had flatly refused. He had already lost everything from his past life. Sasuke was among the handful of friends he still had, and the boy was his cousin. A brother. And Naruto would rather go to hell than turn his back on Sasuke. It may be a pain in the ass to keep Sasuke in check, but it was better than letting a crazy Sasuke run around in an already fucked up world. Besides, he liked annoying the hell out of Sasuke Uchiha. And he had learned a new thing from his best friend. Fracking. Kurenai groggily opened her eyes. She just had the weirdest dream. In her imagination, she saw herself being friends with the worst traitor of Konoha, Naruto Uchiha. Her mind was definitely fucked up if she saw images of her and that traitor going on missions, chatting, even romancing. You will see everything little by little, and your curse is that all of it shall be true. A cold shiver ran down her spine when she remembered Sasuke's words and what he had done to her. That boy had broken some kind of seal in her brain, or at least put a crack in it. She didn't know whether he was bluffing or there was actually any kind of seal in her brain. But the more she thought about it, the more the memories of Naruto assaulted her mind. She opened her eyes completely and saw herself sitting in a plain bed. The room was nothing fancy either, which made only one word arrive in her mind: hospital. Groaned Kurenai, perfect assumption. Still a better place than being captured in an enemy cell. She snapped to her right and saw Jiraiya, the toad sage, sitting on the window. The man had an unreadable expression in his eyes as he wrote down something in a book. Jiraiya-sama. You defeated the enemy? Asked Kurenai in surprise, and Jiraiya sighed when he saw the foolish hope in her eyes. How long do you think you were out? A couple of hours. You have been unconscious for more than a week. If not for Fire Country's best doctors, you'll be in a permanent coma. Somebody completely messed up your mind. Someone with a Sharingan is what I'll bet my money on. He let her absorb the shock. Her hands trembled as she probably remembered what had happened to her, and who had done it to her in the first place. Konoha? Asked Kurenai in fear. Things were already bad when she was still fighting. If she had also fallen, then lost. We lost the village and more than half of Fire Nation by now. She took a sharp breath, her eyes widened in horror and disbelief. The village was lost? And half of the fire country too? Jiraiya saw she was about to start a series of unending questions and quickly raised his hand, making her stop before the tirade even began. He was here for a reason, and the visit had to be short. He had to get back to the front lines quickly. Here's the report. We lost Konoha, half of Fire Nation. The third Hokage fought till his last breath against the enemy and was finally killed by Naruto after a prolonged battle. Said Jiraiya flatly, his face an unreadable mask. If there was any sadness or anger in his heart, then the Sannin was hiding it extremely well. What about Kakashi? Enko? Sakura? All the genin? And my task force is one soldier, asked Kurenai worriedly. She did well in hiding the pain she felt on hearing about Hiruzen's death. If Jiraiya could control his emotions, then so would she. Kakashi was captured, last I checked he's still alive. Naruto won't kill him, so you don't need to worry about that. Enko is here, she's pissed as a mad bull but alive. Sakura made out alive with some other genin. Hinata Hyuga is missing. I've still got Hayashi on my ass demanding to find his daughter. Rock Lee didn't make it out of the hospital, the enemy got to him. Strangely, your lover Naruto spared the boy. He even asked Tsunade to start healing Lee. Explained Jiraiya frustratedly, he wanted to hate Naruto so much. But after hearing the boy's merciful acts, Jiraiya's anger towards the boy had increased. They were still enemies and he would kill Naruto for what he had done to Konoha and Hiruzen, but he could now see why Tsunade chose the boy. Kurenai grasped her head in pain, so many things were spinning out of control. But her mind narrowed down on one thing which Jiraiya said. What do you mean by lovers? I barely knew Naruto. Said Kurenai in protest, and saw Jiraiya's eyes widening in shock. So that's what he did. Sneaky bastard. What did he do? Tell me. Demanded Kurenai, a new fear creeping up in her heart. Sasuke's words came flooding back in her mind. What if all of the things the Uchiha said turned out to be true? My best guess, Naruto would have revealed something important to you about his plan. Maybe even asked you to join him. Now that I think about it, that was the first thing he would have done. Both of you have been in a relationship for almost 5 years now, the strongest couple I had ever seen after that idiot boy's parents. You both went to hell and heaven for each other. Said Jiraiya honestly, I don't believe it. Deny it all you want, but it's the harsh truth. Ask Enko, you trust her since she's your best friend. She'll back my claim, but you already have an idea about it, don't you? Asked Jiraiya knowingly. Kurenai sighed and then explained her battle with Sasuke and what he did to her. Jiraiya jumped from the window and stepped beside her. He slapped a seal on her forehead which glowed blue. So, it's true. You won't like to hear this, but there's a memory seal in your head. And if we go by Sasuke's testimony, it was made by Naruto, and if it was made by him, then I can only think of one person besides the boy who can remove it. The question is, do you want to? The truth is ugly. Warned Jiraiya. I need some time to figure everything out. Fair enough. The doctors tell me you're physically fine, that's good news. How did I get here? Asuma brought you here. Brave lad, he also saved the young genin, he's dead. Kurenai felt her eyes becoming moist, she had known Asuma briefly. He was a good comrade, and a friend. He had saved her life and now he was dead, she couldn't even get a chance to thank him. She was silent for a few minutes before she looked at Jiraiya with ice-cold eyes, the look of a leader. What's the situation? And what are we doing to take our home back? Asked Kurenai fiercely. Whatever tragedy had befallen upon them, they would fight back. She won't let her people be defeated so easily. Her mind and heart were now completely conflicted when it came to Naruto. If those memories she occasionally saw were true, then she loved this man. And after hearing his merciful acts, she couldn't help but gain a begrudging respect for him. Even in war, Naruto was a true fighter and an honorable leader. But he was also the one who destroyed her home, took her friends. Could she truly love a man like that? However, the more her past memories came back, the more she felt conflicted. Daimyo died of a heart attack a few days ago. His health was already frail since the past few years, but rumor has it that he didn't die a natural death. Are you telling me Daimyo was murdered? Asked Kurenai in shock. Possibly, so are the majority of his children. The few that remain have pledged their loyalty to the new daimyo formerly known as Princess Karen. Kurenai took a deep breath to calm her nerves. She had heard about Karen. The woman was a hardliner and the only one among the daimyo's children who was a fighter and skilled in ninja arts. She was also a cruel bitch, victorious but cruel. With everything going on, the useless politicians would be blaming Naruto for this tragedy. Karen orchestrated the perfect coup, but to kill her own father and siblings is disgusting. Said Kurenai bitterly, so, beauty with brains. A deadly combination. It seems you and I share the same taste in women, Naruto, thought Jiraiya curiously. People have killed their family for less. Answered the Toad Sage frankly, nothing is more important than family. At least not to me. Kurenai froze in shock when Jiraiya took up a hat from a table behind her. The mere sight of the thing made her tremble. Without a word he placed it on her, as she looked at him in disbelief. Congratulations, Godame, 5th. You are the new Hokage of Konohagakure. The will of fire burns brightly in you, and by the order of the daimyo I bestow this title upon you. May you serve your people with the best of your abilities and guide them with your wisdom in this need of hour. By the time Jiraiya was finished with his speech, Kurenai felt dizzy. The Toad Sage handed her a glass of water, which she quickly drank. Her fierce ruby eyes glared murder at him. What kind of sick joke is this? Asked Kurenai furiously. This is no joke, Kurenai. Why do you think I was waiting for you to wake up? Asked Jiraiya sarcastically. You're the most powerful ninja of our village. You should be the leader. Why me? Questioned Kurenai confusedly. Powerful, yes. Wise, no. With the war raging on, I have to be on the front lines and gather information all the time. I don't have any time to spare for this job. Besides, I'm not the right person for it. Karen agrees with this decision. Explained Jiraiya patiently. What about Kakashi? Shikaku Nara? Inoichi? Or any of the other clan heads? Surely they are more qualified than me. Argued Kurenai. This was all too much for her to accept. Kakashi is captured. Shikaku and Inoichi were killed when Naruto went all kamikaze in his Kyuubi form. Some of the clan heads didn't make it. Those who did have their hands full in maintaining order in their clan. There is chaos everywhere. We lost several ninja in the invasion. Hundreds were captured by Naruto and turned against us. That boy used his genjutsu on our captured soldiers and made them attack IWA. He even let them destroy a few towns and cities. Said Jiraiya gravely. Oh my god. Yes, you're right. The fourth great ninja war has started, and Iwagakure and Earth Country have attacked us. The Tsuchikage was always itching for a fight. Naruto made our soldiers massacre hundreds of IWA ninja. Entire Iwagakure is out for blood. Konoha and Suna are under Naruto's control now. I still can't figure out how the boy got to the Sand Village, except for reports that 2 of his men went in and killed or subdued all Sand Ninja. A new Kazekage has been appointed, but he is loyal to Naruto only. Otogakure and Sound Country are also under Naruto's rule, and from the latest reports a large contingent of Reich soldiers and Oto ninja have landed in Water Country. Kiri has barely recovered from the civil war. My spies tell me it won't last long against Naruto's army. The only good news that I have for you is that Kumogakure and Lightning Country are staying out of this mess for now, concluded Jiraiya. I need a drink. Said Kurenai weakly. To wake up from a coma and find out you're the Hokage and are representing your village in a world war was probably the worst news any Konoha ninja had ever faced. I figured you would need one after hearing about this mess. Here, just take a sip or you'll knock yourself out cold. It's strong," advised Jiraiya. She drank a sip of the sake from the flask and put it on the table beside her. Taking a deep breath, she looked at Jiraiya seriously. "You're the highest-ranking officer left in our forces after me. You also have the leadership skills which you aptly displayed in the wave invasion. You displayed willingness to go to any lengths for the safety of the village after adopting the secret mission of subduing Yakumo and now choosing the village over your love. I've read your file and in my eyes you are the perfect person for this job, that's why I recommended you. The ANBU commander is missing, or else he would have gotten this job. Do you understand what we're up against, Kurenai Yuhi?" asked Jiraiya seriously. "Yes, and I'll do everything in my power to help win this war." "But why me?" "Because you're the only weakness of Naruto Uchiha. He loves you." "He still does," said Jiraiya frankly. "I don't believe it. Trust me when I say how Naruto feels about you. Kurenai, you may have chosen the village over him. You're a loyal ninja and if my guess is correct then you refused to side with Naruto, even tried to stop him or persuade him from starting this madness. He loved you enough to wipe out everything from your mind, make you hate him, give you a clean slate. Free from guilt, that is the extent to which he would go for you, perhaps even more," hinted Jiraiya. "What are you saying?" asked Kurenai hesitantly. She did not like the way things were heading. But she had no choice, her people's existence was at stake. "I'm taking you up as my student. Whenever I'm free and back, I will train you. I will teach you everything I know, even give you the Toad contract. You will work hard and get strong enough to face him. He's a Kage-level ninja. And you have the determination and strength to be one. Your loyalty towards your people and your patriotism will become your strength, and I will make you stronger. Follow my training and do whatever I say. Then I believe one day you will be able to fight Naruto Uchiha," promised Jiraiya. "And? He loves you, and a man who loves tends to make mistakes. When you fight, he will definitely slip and hesitate. You will use that chance to kill him," said Jiraiya coldly. Kurenai felt as if someone had jabbed a cold knife through her heart. Hearing Jiraiya's master plan made her nervous. The ninja in her was amazed by the marvelous plan, it was deception at its best. Naruto would never see it coming and they could end this madness by making him a scapegoat of this war. However, she didn't know why, but she refused to do such a heinous thing. And that was making her mad. Why was she caring about a traitor? If only Sasuke was here right now, she would kill him with her bare hands. That boy had messed her head up. Previously she was so sure of her beliefs about Naruto and his war. But now... Jiraiya placed a comforting hand on her shoulder and gave her a reassuring smile. "I'm not asking you to kill him with your own hands. I just want you to fight against him for our people, he's the enemy Kurenai. You just have to keep him busy. I've got another capable ninja who will finish the job. If things go bad, he will rescue you. I dare say he's as much powerful as Naruto," said Jiraiya seriously. "It's Itachi Uchiha, isn't it?" She saw the shock in Jiraiya's eyes. What the Toad Sage didn't know that she had seen Itachi fighting alongside Hiruzen on that day. A lot of people had seen him, most of them were dead, so it was nothing but a rumor now. But she knew the truth. "Yes," said Jiraiya tiredly. "Why is the butcher of the Uchiha clan on our side? If I am to consider even doing this thing, I want the truth," said Kurenai flatly. "Believe me, the easier way would have been to send you running back to Naruto, make you pretend that you realize your mistake and still love him. But Naruto knows the real you, he knows Kurenai Yuhi would rather die than betray her village. He would easily see our deception, that's why we have to follow the plan I explained to you. It's our only shot for stopping this madness, people are dying. Naruto doesn't care, the question is whose side are you on? And what will your actions be?" asked Jiraiya seriously. Kurenai went towards the window and observed the beauty of the capital of Fire Country. Sooner or later she would have to meet the daimyo. She didn't know why Naruto did all of this, but her heart was telling her that there was more to this than she was thinking. She doubted she could follow Jiraiya's plan word for word. She would have to make her own choices while protecting her people to the best of her abilities. If she truly loved Naruto, and he loved her, then maybe she could make him stop, and negotiate a truce. That was a far better option than fighting against Naruto and his army. She had already seen how strong they were. More conflict would only result in the deaths of the rest of her people. Karen wouldn't care as long as she got her lost territory back. She would hire new ninjas and take over leadership of Konoha. The reason for this would be the utter failure of the village for protecting Fire Nation. Jiraiya was naive, or he didn't want to see the bigger political game at play. The only reason Karen was even willing to support the Hokage and his warriors was the harsh fact that Naruto would kick all their asses if they stayed divided. That strong a foe he was, a man who was brave and powerful enough to take on the entire world. She glanced at the Hokage hat on top of her head. Not only was she surrounded by crony politicians, fighting a full-scale war, protecting her people, but she also had a lover who was now the worst enemy of their world. Jiraiya was right, she was the right person for this job. They needed someone who could think she would make herself stronger in time and fight back with the help of her soldiers. They needed her brains now more than ever. Naruto, I will find a way to stop you. Through negotiation or war, this I promise. As the fifth Hokage of Konohagakure, thought Kurenai fiercely. She confidently turned around, and the look in her eyes completely mesmerized the Toad Sage. When do we start? Toby glanced at the report in his hand. Everything was going exactly as per his plan. He had to give Naruto credit. The boy was a force of nature. Naruto was the brains behind this entire war. Not to mention the leader of their army, the mastermind. The Akatsuki was his special force team, doing the boy's dirty work. Operating from the shadows, supporting the boy's war. They were his war machine. Of course they had their own agenda, but Naruto didn't need to know about that. He saw Zetsu attaching a young brown-haired man to the Geto statue. The man was heavily wounded and tired but alive. The Geto Mazo is ready for sealing. I'll use Tenzo for making our army. How long do I have to finish this task? Asked White Zetsu curiously. 1 year. Why a year? I thought we'd have even lesser time, said Black Zetsu. Iwa, Suna, Konoha, Oto and Kiri are entering into war with each other. Of course Oto, Suna and Konoha are in fact the Empire, and are on the same side. But the other players don't know that or can't do anything about it. The war has not yet fully started, so the villages take heavy losses. Naruto believes once the casualties increase, the villages will have no choice but to put their Jinchuriki at the front lines. When those people get tired of fighting their enemies, we'll capture them and seal the Biju. I dare say Naruto is 1,000 times smarter and cunning than his own father, explained Toby, the Akatsuki leader, who was completely impressed with their results so far. The child is the father of the man, suggested White Zetsu. Correct. You're wrong. Kyumo has not entered the war. They were smart enough not to take the bait. They have the Nibi and Hachibi, and are the strongest village and nation now that Konoha and Fire Nation have crumbled. Even with the resources at our disposal, I can't find their Jinchuriki. The Raikage has sensed something is not right with this conflict and concealed his weapons, said Black Zetsu. He was the only one who was not smitten by Naruto, unlike his partners. A is a buffoon, but his people aren't. They must have advised the Raikage to take this move, but Naruto had already anticipated this, said Toby proudly. The Akatsuki leader pointed his finger towards a corner, and after a moment Black Zetsu sighed in defeat, while White Zetsu grinned happily. I take my words back. Naruto is a genius, said Black Zetsu begrudgingly. Toby stepped towards the edge of the cave, as he smelt the flames of war burning brightly every day. Soon, his plan would come to fruition. Kyumo's greatest weakness will lead to their fall. It's time for the rise of the Akatsuki. Kabuto watched in fascination as Orochimaru operated on a set of bodies placed beside each other. In a way, their exodus from Otogakure was a blessing. Orochimaru's goal of destroying Konoha was already fulfilled by Naruto, and now the boy had started a war. The Fourth Great Ninja War. A catastrophe where ninja, civilians, men, women, children always died, got injured, disappeared, experimented on. The worst nightmare of the world. And a blessing from the divine for Orochimaru. For months, Kabuto had seen his master holed up in a cave inside Fire Country. He was frustrated since their plan was foiled, but Orochimaru had merely smiled and asked him to have patience and suggested that in fact everything was turning in their favor. Kabuto did not understand the veteran Sanin's words then. But now he did understand them, and his respect for his master had increased greatly. Slowly, Orochimaru had recovered from his wounds. The newly starting war had opened up an unlimited supply of test subjects for the scientists. He already had enough lab rats to experiment for an entire lifetime. The Sannin had changed into a much more powerful body, and was working on a cure for Kimimaro. When it was accomplished, Orochimaru would have the perfect vessel. They had already started their recruitment and slowly were building their own little private army of cursed seal warriors, loyal only to Orochimaru. Kukuku, things are getting better and better for us. Don't you think, Kabuto? Asked Orochimaru in his creepy voice, as his student adjusted his glasses. You're right, Orochimaru-sama. Things turned out exactly the way we wanted to, well, not exactly but in our favor regardless. With the ninja villages fighting at each other's throats, we're free to do whatever we want and no one would bother us, said Kabuto, earning an appreciative smile from his mentor. Good analysis. How goes the work on my secret project? You know we can't disappoint dear Naruto-kun. He must pay for his actions, said Orochimaru wickedly, as he cut open a man's heart. I'm making progress but it will take some time, Orochimaru-sama. Maybe 1 year or 2, not more than that. Answered Kabuto, then make sure we meet our deadline. I want to give Naruto-kun a surprise, I want to rock his world completely with my gift. Ain't I generous, Kabuto? Asked Orochimaru humorously, making his assistant smile. That you are, Orochimaru-sama. That you are. Said Kabuto. Orochimaru's gaze shifted towards a photo of Naruto that was lying atop a dartboard. Ever since that humiliating defeat the Sannin had worked day and night for getting even with the boy. He had offered Naruto a place by his side, an honor a worm like him didn't deserve. But the past was the past, Naruto had caused him pain. It was just right that Orochimaru returned the gesture in kind, with some extra compliments. An eye for an eye. The Fourth Great Ninja World had begun. Bright flames burned across the battlefield, the air was soaked with the foul smell of death. Rivers of blood had drenched the once green pastures. Everywhere there lay bodies of hundreds of ninja, samurai and other armed fighters. It was a massacre. Many bodies were burning in the fire that had enveloped the shinobi world for the past 3 years. Decades-old civilizations fell, nations crumbled, humanity was completely shaken by the core. Some historians even termed this event as the rise of the Second Age, or the era of the Reich. The ninja world witnessed a holocaust which humanity had not seen since the fall of the Ten Tails thousands of years ago. Fight. Surrender. Flee. Or die. Those were the only options available to each and every person in the world. Every warrior in the world had come to the conclusion that this was the biggest war mankind had faced since its inception. The sound of footsteps echoed through the haunted battlefield while around 100 survivors trembled in fear. Men, women with terrified looks in their eyes. The last remnants of the Earth Country's daimyo's family. If powerlessness is a sin, then is power justice? Is revenge a sin? Is friendship greater than justice? The truth is none of it matters. There is no right or wrong, no light or dark. Just shades of gray, sides which each of us align ourselves with. That is the harsh truth of this world. The only thing that will remain true till the end of this world is the fact that history is always written by victor. Take this lesson to your heart and remember it as you take it to your graves. A pair of evil red eyes came to life as the trembling members of the former royal family froze in shock. All they could feel was the desire to do anything those eyes wanted them to do. Naruto Uchiha commands you, all of you die. Obedient smiles came on the faces of the mesmerized people as they got back on their feet. The fear had evaporated from their eyes. Slowly they picked up weapons from the battlefield, and what followed after that was a bloodbath. A scene which would scar any normal human to life, drive people insane as 100 people who were family killed each other mercilessly. They were screaming and laughing madly at the same time. The madness continued for 5 whole minutes until the last man fell dead on the blood-stained grass. The end of another dynasty, the end of another nation, the end of another culture. He watched with cold eyes as the civilization he had once been a part of, a system he had once believed in, crumbled a little more. The world was changing, and he was the one who was changing it. The Führer, the Emperor, the Butcher, the Conqueror, the Destroyer, the Demon. He was everything, for he was Naruto Uchiha, the harbinger of death, the destroyer of the ninja world, the murderer of the ninja civilization. Behind him stood his endless army of soldiers. Dressed in their Reich uniforms, they watched impassively as their leader single-handedly ended another leadership, expanding their already vast empire. A small camera had recorded the entire massacre, and the footage was being broadcasted across the entire world. A message was being sent. The air turned extremely cold when Naruto looked into the camera, and he knew very well that the eyes of every person in the world were fixed on him right now. "Is this the best the ninja world can throw at us?" asked Naruto flatly, standing 6 feet 4 inches tall, dressed in his Reich uniform, and a crown on his head didn't leave any doubt regarding the power this man had gained. His silky blonde hair had grown long and was falling over his face, yet through the thin space between his silky hair the Mangekyo sent shivers down the hearts of hundreds. There was not a stain of blood on his body, yet the countless dead that lay beside him was proof enough that this man was to be feared. "This is the fate that awaits all of you if you continue to resist. Surrender and you will become a part of our glorious Reich. If not, then the same fate awaits you which I just bestowed upon the royalty of Earth Country. Your nations have fallen, governments destroyed, leaders killed, armies scattered. Konoha, Kiri, Iwa, Suna have now become a part of our fatherland. The pathetic resistance which the ninjas have formed can't help you, no matter the promises they make. Only one power remains in this world, and it is the Reich," explained Naruto proudly. "If you continue to resist, your families will suffer. If you still wish to challenge us, then go ahead. You will either lose everything or win. That is how a war is supposed to be," said Naruto crudely, and raised his hand in the air. "For the Reich." On hearing their leader's battle cry, the Reich army followed him, showing their loyalty to their empire and to their leader. "For the Reich! For the Reich! For the Reich!" A stunned silence prevailed in the semi-bright room as the transmission just came to an end. The group of people still felt their bodies shivering as their minds tried to rein in the shock they had just experienced. Despite the presence of 3 Kages in the room, it was not at all enough to calm their subordinates. "Iwa has fallen finally," said Mei Terumi in disbelief, the ousted former Mizukage. "It was only a matter of time. The Reich is far too powerful," muttered Temari, the self-appointed exiled leader of Tsunagakure. It was quite ironic that her own younger brother had staged a coup and now ruled over Suna, and had pledged his allegiance to the Reich, making Wind Country a part of the growing empire. "Do we have any news about the Tsuchikage and his group of survivors?" asked Kurenai Yuhi, the 5th Hokage of the former Konohagakure no Sato. Noticing the grave look in the eyes of her fellow Kages proved the news was not good. "Inoki is stubborn. And after watching what Naruto did to his people, I doubt," said Jiraiya hesitantly, and saw Kurenai sigh. "What do you think the old fool will do? Will he join us?" asked Kurenai hopefully, never in her wildest dreams had she imagined herself to be the leader of a resistance. And that too of the survivors of the ninja villages. Her mind was still afresh with the picture of Naruto commanding people to die. He executed them without any kind of remorse. Her eyes glanced through every person in the room. And every single one of them had an unending hatred for Naruto. These past 3 years had been extremely hard for her. Not only had she lost her home and many of her friends, she had lost the man she once loved, a man she still loved. She could now understand why Sasuke messed up the seal inside her mind. During these years, she slowly recovered memories of her past with Naruto. After confronting Anko, her doubts were confirmed. She was in truth the love of Emperor Naruto Uchiha. In his decree of punishing her, she failed to notice the hidden reason behind Sasuke's actions. Even if the boy was an enemy of hers now, she was amazed by the level of loyalty and love Sasuke had for Naruto. The Uchiha had wanted her to change her mind, accepting that she was wrong, and be with Naruto. Looking back now, she doubted all the choices she had made were the correct ones or not. Especially when it came to Naruto, could she have stopped him? No. Could she have prevented the rise of the Empire? No. The only thing she could have gained by siding with him was probably convincing him to not massacre the ninja race. She still hoped for that wish. There were times when she wondered what would have happened if she had sided with Naruto. Kakashi had done that, and it still amazed her. Anko was heartbroken. The woman felt betrayed just like Kurenai because of what the love of their lives had done. None of them had ever gotten a proper opportunity to confront their feelings and express their opinions, before the others became repulsed with it. And now everything has changed. All of them had made their respective choices and now they had to live with it. Naruto had married, so had Kakashi. She could still remember how heartbroken she and Anko were when they got the news. Anko had not taken the news kindly, she felt betrayed. While Kurenai was extremely sad, it was quite an irony that the women who became wives of those two warriors had the same initials. Yuhi Haku was now Uchiha Haku, while a mysterious woman named Hanar was now Kakashi's wife. Digging through Kakashi's past, both Kurenai and Anko had discovered that Hanar was apparently a spy who had infiltrated Konoha years ago. And if Inoichi's personal observation found in the report was true, then she was also Kakashi's first love. The woman was said to be killed years ago during a prisoner exchange. Kakashi himself had verified this claim, but only now did Kurenai realize that even in the past, Kakashi had once put his love for a person above the duty to his village. He let Hanar escape, because he loved her. Just as he joined Naruto's crusade, because he loved the boy like his own son. It was not as if Kakashi had not tried. After a year since his capture, when Hatake was released from prison, he made a strange request. He asked to meet Anko and Kurenai in a secluded position, away from both armies. What shocked Kurenai was Naruto's decision to accept the request. She could still remember that day. Flashback, 2 years ago. Kurenai patiently watched as Anko nervously walked from one side to another in the clearing of the forest. They were quite surprised when they had received Kakashi's message that he wanted to meet them. He had asked them to come alone, and he would do the same. But she doubted it. As such, she had a team of ANBU Black Ops ready to handle the situation if things didn't go their way. Anko still believed that Kakashi had somehow managed to escape and wanted them to rescue him. But Kurenai knew. She knew that Naruto and Kakashi shared a bond which was stronger than Hatake's oath as a ninja. When it came to Naruto, Kakashi's rational mind always went straight out of the window. He loved the boy too much. Her thoughts were interrupted when she heard footsteps. Anko got a bright smile on her face when Kakashi emerged from the darkness of the night. However, the smile didn't last when they saw the uniform on Kakashi's body. Kurenai's eyes widened and she was about to signal her rescue team, when... "It's no use, Kurenai." She froze when his voice touched her ears. It was the same voice that she had heard in her dreams for the past year. The voice she loved so much. Turning around, she saw Naruto standing on the other side. Around him lay the unconscious forms of her rescue team. He raised his hands in a placating manner, and she was surprised that her own hands stopped on the strap of her kunai holster. How could this man have such a hold on her? Kakashi had quickly stepped in front of Naruto and had managed to stop Anko from attacking the blonde boy. "You traitor!" said Anko furiously, and was even more infuriated when Naruto gave her an eye smile. "Love you too, Anko," replied Naruto casually, and he turned his gaze on Kurenai. Her breath stopped when she saw something in his eyes that threw all her doubts away. Naruto really loved her. "You have no need to fear. We agreed to negotiate, and that's all we're gonna do. You or your men won't be harmed, I give you my word." "Promise, Naruto, why did you bring us here?" "Did you use Kakashi?" asked Kurenai seriously, and saw the same question in Anko's eyes. "I requested Naruto to arrange this meeting. There is something I need to talk to you about," said Kakashi hesitantly, and flinched when Anko disgustedly pointed her finger at Kakashi's new uniform. "Why the hell are you wearing this filth?" asked Anko sternly. Naruto saw the tension rising and gestured to Kurenai to follow him, which she hesitantly did. It wasn't long before the quarrel between Kakashi and Anko escalated, and Kurenai's worst fears came true. "You turned him, didn't you?" asked Kurenai sadly, and saw him staring at the moon in the sky. Every person makes choices for himself. There are circumstances which affect that decision, but ultimately it is the person who has to make that choice. Kakashi made his, so did I, and you too. "Congratulations on your promotion, Godame," said Naruto, a true smile playing on his lips. For a moment she stopped thinking like a Kage, and instead looked at Naruto just as Kurenai. His words and the smile were true. "Will you stop?" asked Kurenai tiredly, already knowing the answer. "We are destined to fight each other, Kurenai. I wish I could change that, I truly do. The truth is that I respect you, despite the opposite sides we are on. You stood by your beliefs and the people you care about. It takes guts to do such a thing in face of overwhelming odds. You truly are something else," complimented Naruto. He knew she was the enemy now, he knew he was in a relationship with Haku now. And he had been faithful to her, but he could not stop his heart from speaking what he truly felt for Kurenai. He still loved her, even now. It took all his strength not just to close the distance between them and kiss her senseless, but he had also accepted that perhaps they could never be together, not in this life. "You really love me, don't you?" He froze. She noticed the shock in his eyes. It was quite amusing that he still thought he had put her away from any harm. That he could still protect her, even from afar. Even if they were on opposite sides, he always wanted to protect her. And just that thought made her love him. She didn't see him as the monster which people accused him to be. Kurenai knew that it was the ninja world which made Naruto into the person he was now, and it would be hypocritical of her to judge him. She had long ago changed from the person she was a year ago. Becoming Hokage had made her aware of the monstrous things Konoha had continued to do for decades. And it changed her biased perspective. What she could do or hope to accomplish now was to convince him to stop someday. It was the only way to save all of them. Despite her rigorous training with Jiraiya in the past year, she knew he was stronger. Not to mention his army had achieved significant victories. He simply turned the captured prisoners into his loyal soldiers, increasing his armed forces' strength, while they crumbled. Naruto could easily replace the troops he lost, Kurenai couldn't. Not to forget, he also turned civilians the same way, and had already established a growing kingdom. "How?" asked Naruto in shock. "Sasuke." He closed his eyes in defeat and clenched his fists. She saw the unending anger that was visible on his face. Naruto took a few deep breaths before he was able to rein himself in. She was glad that he was not going to take it out on her. The same could not be said for Sasuke. "I'm sorry for what Sasuke did, said Naruto regretfully. He felt someone wrapping their arms around him, and his eyes widened when he saw it was none other than Kurenai. He felt his heart exploding as he inhaled her familiar scent. If any of their soldiers had seen them like this, there would have been serious consequences. At least on Kurenai's side, Naruto was not too worried about himself as his army was completely obedient. He cursed himself when his trembling arms wrapped themselves around her. Why couldn't he stop? Don't be afraid. It was all he could take as tears came in his eyes, as he hugged her back. Gods, he had missed her. In this moment he wished neither of them had ever been a ninja, nor did they have to be born in a hidden village. Why couldn't they just have lived as Naruto and Kurenai, instead of him living a life in ANBU and her living a bright life as a proud jounin of her village? It was so unfair that he wanted to curse the gods. I missed you, said Naruto in a tearful voice. I missed you too, replied Kurenai emotionally. She leaned back and their eyes met, a smile came on her face and she leaned forward. Their lips were about to touch, when he moved his face and she ended up kissing his cheek. Questioningly, she looked at him and saw him averting his eyes. I'm with someone, confessed Naruto. Kurenai felt as if someone had jabbed a cold kunai through her heart. Her initial feeling was to lash out at him. But then she remembered it was her decision that drove them away, their different beliefs that changed everything and brought them to this point. You're an honorable man, said Kurenai frankly, as she broke the hug and stepped away. I have always loved you, Kurenai, but I can't betray Haku or my beliefs just as you want to stick with your ideals as a ninja and with your people. We're like ice and fire, said Naruto sadly. Then please stop. There is still time, don't make yourself the enemy of the entire world. The ninja villages are slowly uniting against you, warned Kurenai, hoping he would listen to reason. But he merely gave her a mischievous smile. So the prideful ninja villages are scared of little old me? That's fine, let them become my enemy. I am not the one who is wrong, it's the ninja world that needs to change, and the world will change, one way or another, promised Naruto, a serious look arriving in his eyes. We'll see about that, challenged Kurenai, making him smirk. Very well, Kurenai. But you should know that my crusade won't stop because I am Uchiha Naruto, the man who destroys worlds, the man who creates them. Flashback end. She could still feel his words ringing in her ears. Naruto had been true to his promise. He had changed the world, he had almost destroyed the shinobi system. His victory was imminent unless drastic measures were taken to stop him, steps she had hesitated to take till now. She loved that man and couldn't bear to hurt him any more than he already was. But looking at the depressed faces of her people, and the way Naruto was changing their world, he had left her no choice. She steeled her resolve and took a deep breath. She had to do this. Jiraiya, what is the report so far? Asked Kurenai seriously. Not good. We have completely lost fire, water, wind and now earth country along with their hidden villages. The smaller villages have surrendered and merged with the empire willingly. There are still various ninja factions of different nations fighting, but they are nothing more than a nuisance to Naruto. He'll eventually silence them as well. I've also got word that the Reich army is sniffing across Kumo's borders. Just scouting missions, but they're gonna make a move soon, explained Jiraiya gravely. Any information about the captured tailed beasts? Asked Mei worriedly. I'm afraid not. Except for the Nibi and Hachibi safe inside Kumo, the rest have been captured. My best guess is that he sealed them away somewhere. He's trying to create the Jubi and rule over the world with its power. If he succeeds, then his victory is inevitable, said Jiraiya frankly. What about the Achibi? Gaara, said Temari hesitantly. It was sealed, and due to Tsunade's help your brother didn't die. Gaara is one of Naruto's closest supporters and friends, he won't let him die. I see, replied Temari. A small part of her heart felt quite relieved for her youngest brother. Despite what he did, they were family. And she and their father along with the Sand Village had given Gaara nothing but misery. He had simply repaid in kind. Will Naruto seal the Kyuubi? If that happens, then he will die. Said Kurenai hesitantly, not quite. He does not need to seal the entire tailed beast. Our monks believe that if he just seals around 80% of Biju chakra, that would be more than enough to awaken the Kyuubi. I think Naruto is intentionally not awakening the Kyuubi at full power. He doesn't trust himself fully whether he will be able to control the monster or not. Suggested Temari, all the more reason that Madman has to stop. Warned May. Their banter was stopped when Kurenai stood up, making her comrade stand up as well. Jiraiya had a proud smile on his face as he watched the confidence that was on her face, the grace with which she handled being a Hokage. That uniform fit her so perfectly. He had trained another good Hokage. Judging from the painful look in her eyes, she had decided to put duty above emotions. The trait of a true ninja and a great leader, Jiraiya could understand her pain better than anyone. The love of their lives were now not only their enemy but of the world as well. They had to be stopped, by any means necessary. Jiraiya, stay. Rest of you leave us. Commanded Kurenai. May and Temari looked at her for a few seconds, before giving affirmative nods and exiting from the room. Jiraiya held his gaze as Kurenai glared at him. So you've finally come around, kid? Asked Jiraiya, making her frown. Naruto didn't leave me any choice. We can't defeat him in traditional warfare, he's too strong. Admitted Kurenai bitterly, you're strong too. And I just don't mean as a shinobi, gods know I taught you everything I know. You were the best student after Minato, and in a way you have the same desire as the Yondaime to protect your people. You're a strong woman who put others before herself, a pity Naruto couldn't be like you. Said Jiraiya regretfully, making her sigh tiredly. Jiraiya, I have stopped judging him for his actions. We're no better, the only thing that matters is who wins in the end. Said Kurenai flatly, fair enough. Start Operation Maelstrom, and I want him alive. Commanded Kurenai, very well, go dame. I will end this once and for all, for better or worse, promised Kurenai, as she stormed out of the room. Jiraiya quickly started working on forming a plan, but doing so he failed to notice the tears that had been falling from his prized student's eyes. Along with her silent prayer. Please forgive me, Naruto. Naruto carefully stepped inside the luxurious room. The place was everything a man could imagine in his dream. Soft carpet, lavish inbuilt bathroom, a dressing corner, a beautiful mirror, one of the softest and most comfortable beds in all lands. And most of all an extremely beautiful woman sleeping soundly. Just the mere sight of Haku and the place they shared together made him feel grateful. While he would not mind in living a less luxurious life, his people had been insistent the emperor was well appreciated for the endless service he had given to their realm all these years. All of this was a significant achievement from the crappy pasts he and Haku had lived. And the moment she laid her eyes on this room, he had seen an almost pleading look in her eyes. His reply was a simple smile, besides he didn't mind the comfort either. It was midnight right now. His journey back to the capital had been quite long. His wife was soundly sleeping in their bed, and the peaceful look on her face made him smile. He unconsciously glanced at the ring in his hand, which made him happy. Marrying her was perhaps the best decision he made in his life, and he didn't regret it for a second. She gave him a home to return to, filled the hole in his heart, and became the friend with whom he could share his deepest fears and greatest happiness. After taking a quick bath and dressed just in shorts, he crawled into the bed as quietly as possible. He simply propped one of his elbows and rested his head on it, calmly observing her slow breathing. "You're staring." He smiled when he heard her voice, so she was awake. Of course she was. A sensor ninja like her would have realized he was there the moment he stepped foot in the corridor. Besides, she always had sharp intuitions when it came to him. In the last 3 years, he had changed from a young boy into a man. He hated to admit it, but he looked like an exact replica of his father, except he had smooth hair like his mother. He was tall, fair, and handsome. His body had grown more muscular, and he even started growing a beard which he had to regularly maintain. Wife's orders. Even now as he looked at her his breathing stopped a little. Haku had changed quite greatly in the past years. She was still the same sweet girl whom he had fallen in love with, but now she was more mature than him. She displayed this ability by becoming an empress and the one who handled the regular affairs of their kingdom. He would supervise her, guide her. But frankly she didn't need it, she was actually better at politics and negotiations than him. All the more reason he had given her the responsibilities. Not only had this kept her from risking her life on the front lines, it also reduced his burden of maintaining a vast empire as theirs. He had clearly expressed his wish that he didn't want her to risk her life anymore. At first she was hurt, but in time she understood Naruto was giving her something more important to handle. The fate of their kingdom, their future, he was making her take the lead, while supporting her from the shadows. Sure, for the world he was a person who wanted to rule over everything. But Haku knew Naruto hated being an emperor. If not for the sake of Valkyrie, the man would have gladly preferred to live a simple life away from all this spotlight and danger. The more he thought about it, the more it terrified him of the things he had to do in the past 3 years. He had committed a genocide of his own race, destroyed so many lives in the hope that the new system he wanted to establish would lead the world to peace. He had to keep on moving forward, but deep down he wanted to repent for his sins. And he and Sasuke had promised themselves that one day when all of this was over, they would do just that. His enemies considered him to be a heartless bastard and they had every reason to feel that way. But he had shown mercy too, he didn't kill anyone unless it was absolutely avoidable and unnecessary. He of all people knew the value of a person's life and what it meant to their families. In a way, his Manjikyu powers had enabled him to achieve victories with the least amount of bloodshed. Her soft hands laid upon his cheeks, bringing him out of troubled thoughts. He looked her in the eye and she gave him a nod. That was all he needed as he hugged her, relishing the scent of her. The gentle touch that made him feel at peace. Beside her development as a leader and a person, she had developed in beauty as well. She was taller now, almost reaching his shoulders. Her face was still the same, yet it had achieved a more feminine edge. Her hair now reached up to her back, and it was the most beautiful feature of her for him apart from her eyes. "You okay?" Her tone was gentle and welcoming, making him give her a smile while brushing a strand of her hair which was falling over her face. Gods, she was beautiful. He now realized how idiotic and broody he was 3 years ago. He would have cursed himself for eternity if he had let this woman go away that night. Fortunately, there had been an ounce of sense in his then stubborn brain and everything turned out all right. "Yeah, just a long day." "What about you?" asked Naruto sincerely, receiving a mock glare in return. "Paperwork and meetings. You know, when I signed up for this, I didn't expect my job would be so boring." She saw him wince and look away with guilt visible in his eyes. He never wanted to push her behind a desk, just like Tsunade. Both those were the only 2 people who had the wits to maintain their vast empire, and dealing with day-to-day issues and keeping their civilian subjects happy. Naruto would love nothing more than to command his people and solve the problems, but Haku had warned that would just backfire in the long run. She was right, and he had received the same advice from Tsunade. So, he had made a choice. Haku would be acting as his second in command and look after their kingdom with the assistance of Tsunade, who was now the assistant governor of the Reich. While they maintained the peace at home, Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Gaara and the rest of their soldiers fought their war. It was a balanced system which had worked quite smoothly so far. "I'm not complaining. I know it's necessary, it's just," said Haku quickly, trying to relieve the guilt he must be feeling. She was surprised when he got a bright smile on his face. "All right, whenever the next negotiations come you can come with me. But there are certain conditions," said Naruto in a resigned voice. "Really?" He merely rolled his eyes when he saw the eager look in her eyes. She was itching for some action. And he loved her too much to reject her wish. "Yes. But you have to agree to my conditions," said Naruto strictly, making her pout. "Fine. You will follow my lead, and if things get dangerous, I want you to retreat to safety. And I mean it, Haku. If I tell you to run, you follow my order. And this is non-negotiable," said Naruto seriously. "I can't just leave you alone in danger." "What kind of wife do you think I am?" snapped Haku, as he rubbed his temple. "You're not just my wife, but the Empress as well. The people look up to you. Sure, Tsunade can handle the affairs while you're away, but it is you who our people look up to for leadership with me being away. More importantly, I've lost a lot of people close to me. I can't lose you," whispered Naruto, his voice barely reaching her ears. The anger disappeared from her eyes and she took a deep breath. He was really going out of his way to grant her wish, trying to take the first step. It had always been like this, each of them always took the first step and the other followed. Sure, there were arguments, but they sorted it out in the end. He valued her advice and often acted on it, and she would make sure to fulfill whatever wish he had. It was not a picture-perfect marriage, but happy lives are often overrated. "Alright, I'll do as you say." He bumped his forehead against her and gently kissed her cheek, and the tension that had developed went straight out of the window. They stayed like that, gazing into each other's eyes, enjoying the intimacy. "Do you think that, maybe, we can have a child?" asked Haku hesitantly, choosing each word carefully and observing his every reaction. Right from the disappearance of his smile to the stiffness arriving in his body. He rolled off her and settled to lay beside her, eyes staring at the ceiling of their room. "I honestly don't know, Haku. After what happened with Rei, His voice said it all. Despite the passage of time, Naruto had never forgiven himself for what happened to his long-lost daughter. Haku had helped him get over his past with Root, Danzo, Shin, Sai, and even the betrayal of Hiruzen and his own parents. But Rei. It was a completely different story, a barrier which she was barely able to break. Whenever she tried to talk about it, he would shut himself. It hurt her, but she managed because she knew deep down he was hurting even more. "You can't change the past, Naruto." She whispered those soothing words in his ears, and he grasped her hand for comfort. This was his greatest weakness, a pain which she didn't want their enemies to even get a hint of. Naruto could defeat armies on his own, kick the current Kages to their graves, but Rei. That child was Naruto's Achilles heel. At first she had thought Kurenai was Naruto's weakness. But he had easily shut that woman out of his life, for the sake of his goal and for Haku. They had parted ways and Naruto had never looked back. "I still see her face every day. Those curious eyes, that fighter spirit." His grip on her hand tightened, and she knew he was reliving that night inside his mind. Naruto had shown her every memory of his past, except for that one memory of his daughter. He had met that child just once in his life, and this was the impact she had on him even after all these years. In her eyes, this was the striking difference between Naruto and his own father, Minato. While Minato Namikaze would have gladly sacrificed his own son for the sake of his village, Naruto had burned the same village to the ground for the sake of his daughter and the injustice done to her. She had no doubt the reason behind the destruction of the ninja world was the death of one innocent child. "My love," said Haku worriedly, when he became very silent, "I have lived my entire life without any regret, except for this one," confessed Naruto, as she stroked his cheek. She didn't speak, fearing he would shut down on her again. This was the first time he was even willing to talk so much about Rei, and she didn't want to push him. So she listened. "It's not that my daughter, sobs, gave her life for her nation and her comrades, it's just that I never told her that I loved her the most." His moist eyes had now tears running down his cheeks, his voice was heavy and she saw how deep the pain was. He would have to face this pain for the rest of his life. "She was all that was best in me. And this ninja world turned that little girl into a weapon from the moment she was born, and for that I will destroy every single ninja in this world. I will burn their villages to the ground, execute their kages publicly. I will take away all that they hold dear, just as they did to me. And this I promise as the first emperor of the Reich. Haku tensed on hearing his tone, full of hatred and anger. She was not blind. Despite his kind-hearted nature, there was another side to him, a part of him that scared her, not for herself. But Naruto narrowed his eyes when he saw Haku's hand tightly placed over her belly. Suspicion arose in his heart. Is there something you're not telling me? Asked Naruto sharply, and saw her breathing stop. Haku looked into his piercing dark eyes and had to call all her strength to not just crumble. Her hand slid down her belly and was now placed on his cheek. When she gave him a smile, the tension broke as he relaxed. Now why would you think that? Asked Haku sweetly, a boy. Haku froze. Her mind went blank with the revelation as her hand touched her belly. She could see the overjoyed smile on Tsunade's face as she read the report. The blonde Senju was like a mother to Naruto, and she had welcomed this good news saying she was getting a grandchild. Haku so badly wished things were this simple for her as they were for Tsunade. This changed everything. Are you sure? I mean, it's too early, said Haku meekly, making Tsunade adopt a thinking pose. You have a point. We won't know for sure since you are only 12 weeks from now. But in a few more, we will. I still think it's a boy. Said Tsunade frankly. Hi. You look worried. Why wouldn't I be? Snapped Haku, making the older woman frown. You don't want this child? Asked Tsunade disappointedly, and saw the Empress's eyes widen. What? No. How can you even think that? Questioned Haku, her hand clutching her belly even protectively. Then what's the problem? Tsunade was met with silence as Haku lowered her head, not meeting her piercing hazel eyes. Tsunade's mind quickly started connecting the picture and she came to a surprising conclusion. He doesn't know, does he? The only answer she got this time was the clenching of Haku's fist and the pained expression on her face. As far as Tsunade knows, Naruto loves Haku, and vice versa. This child was a promise of a bright future, then why was she seeing the fear in the girl's eyes? It's him. I don't think he's ready to be a father, not now. Perhaps not ever. Said Haku sadly. Is this because of Rei? Asked Tsunade sympathetically, as she laid a comforting hand on the worried girl's shoulder. Deep down she knew Haku had a point. Her adoptive son was messed up when it came to children. If only that tragedy had not happened in the past, but it was also that event that led to Valkyrie and everything. Yes. I understand your concern. But he has a right to know. I'm surprised he hasn't realized this with his sensory powers. Said Tsunade curiously, as Haku pointed towards a barely visible kanji on the lower part of her arm. Karen developed a seal. It suppresses my chakra and acts as a shield that prevents a sensor from recognizing the life inside of me. It's only temporary. You're damn right it's temporary. You're gaining weight slowly, it won't be long before he notices. Haku grimaced on hearing Tsunade's scolding, but Senju was right. Naruto had a right to know, this was as much his child as hers. Not to forget that this baby would be a prince, the heir to the Reich's throne. A prince. She couldn't help but smile when she thought about that, and in that moment itself she knew that she loved the little one more than anything. The doubts, the fears she had went away as she finally accepted that very soon she would be a mother. So what does that make you, Bachan? Teased Haku, and saw Tsunade's eyebrows twitching. TCH. Admit it, you like it. Now you're pushing it, girl. Tsunade Bachan. Haku quickly ducked as Tsunade tried to give her a bop on the head. A moment later the older woman was giving her a tight hug and she felt a tear run down her eye. An action mimicked by Tsunade. What do you think he'll be like? Asked Haku curiously, as she broke the hug. From what I've observed, the first child usually looks like the father with a few noticeable traits from the mother. Personality-wise it could go either way, but I hope this brat takes after you. I don't need another little Naruto running around, his father already has a head bigger than a mountain. I don't think I can handle two of them, and neither can you. Joked Tsunade, eliciting a laugh from Haku. Little Naruto, sounds nice. Said Haku happily, you won't be saying that when you'll be changing diapers day and night. Babies are quite moody, but you'll do fine since you're already handling one moody baby quite well, teased Tsunade. I just hope this child can make him. Said Haku hesitantly, whole again? Yeah. Naruto is many things, but he's not a bad father. But you've got to understand, men love their children as much as women. Daughters are especially the stars of their father's eyes. This child will never be a replacement for Rei. She'll always remain in his heart, but what I can assure you is that he'll love his son as much as he loved his deceased daughter. Explained Tsunade patiently, I understand. Thank you, Tsunade. Said Haku gratefully, making the older woman smirk. So does that mean I get to name the baby? Hell no. Naruto calmly sat on the soft grass, his eyes glancing over the lake inside his palace. It was one of the most beautiful creations he had ever seen, being near water always relaxed him. Looking at it just made him forget all the troubles and be at peace. Within 3 years of his ascension to the throne, Emperor Naruto has changed the picture of this world. For he has destroyed the violent shinobi system. Said Sasuke bemusedly, as he read the headlines from one of the Empire's newspapers. He glanced on his side to see the tall figure of Uchiha Sasuke. Years had been well on his best friend, and nowadays he looked more and more like a younger version of his own father. Sasuke was more muscular than him, and had a gaze that would scare away the mightiest fighters. The perfect trait for the commander of the Reich army. This is just the beginning, still. I will create more rivers of blood, enough to obscure the name of Itachi Uchiha and the tragedy of the Uchiha clan from the people's memories. Promised Naruto, and saw the shock on Sasuke's face. Naruto, it's not just me who has lost family, but you too. All of us have lost far too many things, but even so, to brace for tomorrow we need to conquer the world first, said Naruto seriously, as he got back on his feet with an amused smile on his face. It is funny to actually say it. Sasuke smiled on hearing Naruto's little joke. He could still remember how pissed Naruto was at him for months for his actions against Kurenai. Naruto had punished him by sending him away to capture Water Country. It was a year before Sasuke came back victorious. By that time Naruto was married and his anger had vanished. He still owed Haku for that. But you will do it, no? Both of you. Said a new familiar voice. Turning around they saw Kakashi approaching them, and just looking at what the masked guy was bringing along made Naruto smile even more. Yeah. For the sake of Valkyrie. Replied Naruto honestly, as he glanced towards Sasuke receiving a crisp salute in return. Yes, Your Majesty. NAWU. Sasuke cringed on hearing that high-pitched noise, and just looking into Kakashi's bemused eye smile made him frown. Gods, kids were so freaking annoying. Naruto was already on his knees, arms spread out in a welcoming gesture as a little boy ran straight towards him and jumped into his arms. He couldn't suppress the wide smile that came onto his face as he hugged the child. Good to see you too, buddy. Replied Naruto happily. Little Obito was his father's son in all aspects. 16 months old, he was an exact clone of Kakashi. Starting from his chibi face mask, to his unruly white hair with shades of ginger which he inherited from his mother. The noticeable feature of him were his dark eyes which were the same as Hanar, but in every other way he was Kakashi reincarnate. He still couldn't believe that Kakashi had named him this child's godfather. But he appreciated it nonetheless. Rummaging through his pocket he took out a paper plane and presented it to the child whose smile grew wider. With speed surprising for a kid, Obito snatched the plane away, eliciting a laugh from the Emperor. Miss me? Asked Naruto cheerfully, as Kakashi and Sasuke exchanged greetings. Naruto smiled on seeing the child already wrapped around the paper plane. In truth, it was just a piece of paper which he had folded and transformed into a plane. Yet to Obito it seemed the world right now. Things were so simple for him, a complete carefree life. He would grow up knowing the love of a father and mother, go to school and learn the values of life. Play with kids his age instead of learning to kill other people. He would get all the things Naruto, Kakashi and Sasuke never did. Up. Kakashi chuckled when his son raised his arms again, ordering Naruto to lift him up in his arms. The little boy was only among the handful of people who could command Naruto so easily. He learned that word pretty quickly, said Kakashi, with a smile as he ruffled his son's hair, earning a sheepish smile. He's a smart boy. Aren't you, Obito? Asked Naruto curiously. Yes. No. It's Naruto, Obi. Corrected the Emperor, as the kid put a finger on his lips imitating his thoughtful pose. Natu? No. No. Naruto, that's how you say it. After a few more attempts at getting the kid to say the correct name, Naruto gave up, and Obito suddenly found the butterflies more attractive. So off he went inside the garden, carrying the paper plane high in the air the entire time. He's a lively one, commented Naruto, as Kakashi stepped beside him. That he is. I'm happy to report that things are peaceful in Water Country. It seems the resistance have fallen back and shifted their base of headquarters from Kiri to somewhere else, explained Kakashi, who was currently looking after the affairs of Kiri. Where? Asked Naruto. Fire Nation. He saw Naruto's face darkening, and when the Emperor got that look, somebody was going to end up dead. That much Kakashi knew very well. I want to suppress all resistances before we move to Kumo. They are a pest which we need to eliminate as soon as possible, warned Naruto. Agreed, but so is the case with Akatsuki. It still seems a mistake to let the captured Biju be stored in that statue. We need that monster on our side. You cannot let Tobi possess it, said Sasuke, frustration evident in his eyes. Until I destroy all the ninja villages, I can't open another war front with the Akatsuki. We have to be patient. They were interrupted from their decision when Guren ran towards them. The Reich officer had a nervous look in her eyes which did little to ease Naruto's worries. After getting a salute from the woman, he ordered her to take a deep breath. Getting information from a tired person was a hassle Naruto didn't need right now. Your Highness, the Tsuchikage is moving towards Tokyo with his remaining fighters. We've tried to stop him, but he's too powerful, said Guren worriedly. Tokyo was the capital of the empire, the place where all of them currently were. If any harm were to come to this place, then it would be bad. Most of all for the morale of not only their soldiers, but it would bolster the resistance's will to fight, and the rebellions against them would intensify. Guren, contact the press. Tell them I have breaking footage for them, ordered Naruto. Yes, sir. As soon as Guren went away, Naruto turned around and his glare made Sasuke look away. Uchiha was the current governor of Earth Country, just like Kakashi was of Water Country, Tsunade of Fire Country and Gaara of Wind Country. By tonight I want Anoki's head on my feet, or your body on the battlefield. Am I clear? Asked Naruto sternly. What about his soldiers? You know I don't take prisoners, warned Sasuke, not even caring about the fact that Naruto had just threatened him to commit suicide if he lost. Have it your way. Kill them, but don't torture anyone. Take a company of Reich soldiers with you, suggested Naruto, receiving a look from Sasuke. I'll handle this, on my own. Naruto wanted to say more, but stopped and gave a nod instead. There were times when a heartless soldier like Sasuke was needed to win a war, and if anybody could finish this mess then it was Uchiha Sasuke. Kakashi, let's go. We have some live footage to watch. Anoki had a satisfied expression on his wrinkled face as his soldiers destroyed the first wave of Reich fighters. Such was the power of his soldiers that even the greater enemy numbers didn't stop them. Or maybe it was the fact that their Tsuchikage was the one leading the charge, destroying several enemy forces from his untouchable position in the sky. The flying shinobi, he had always prided himself to be the only ninja to ever master the ability to fly. And now this power would help him defeat the evil emperor. Once Naruto was finished, he would restore peace to his nation. And also gain control over the empire. Tsuchikage-sama, I sense one enemy fighter approaching. Warned his sensor ninja, just one. Find out who it is. Ordered the Kage. A team of sensor ninja moved ahead of their force. Their powers made them aware of the direction the person was coming from. Looking towards the eastern side, they saw a person seated atop of a hawk. And suddenly the ninja vanished in a black flash. It's. Boom. Anoki, who was previously smiling, was now violently shocked when his entire force of soldiers were blown to oblivion. All he could see were black flashes across the battlefield and the cries of his dying men. He moved in to save them, but before he could attack, the battle was over and only dead bodies remained. A chill went down his spine as it made him remember the massacre that the Yellow Flash had committed in the Third Great Ninja War. The event in front of him could be considered history repeating itself. You pest! He turned around to come face to face with a furious Sasuke Uchiha, a man who was the emperor's most powerful ally. A butcher who had murdered more ninja than Naruto himself, and an army commander who never took prisoners. The proof of this was all the dead Iwa shinobi lying on the battlefield. Uchiha Sasuke, you will pay for your sins. Promised Anoki, making Sasuke smile cruelly. Oh, I will. But before I do that, I will send your hypocritical ass straight to the underworld. By the time I am done with you, the entire world will remember you as the fool who thought he could defeat the emperor. Taunted Sasuke, Anoki opened his mouth to give a befitting reply, but instead ended up howling in pain as both of his arms suddenly started burning by black flames. The heat was more lethal than anything the Kage had ever felt. Within seconds the fires spread across his entire body, only for the old man to crumble into dust. You talk too much. Cursed Sasuke, as the real Anoki emerged from the forest beneath them. You lack manners, boy. It's an insult that someone like you is ruling my nation. Insulted Anoki. Does it look like I care? The strong survive, the weak die. That is the rule of the ninja world, get used to it. The fact that you couldn't even protect your people just makes you more pathetic to me. A stubborn old man with one foot in the grave, the world will be better off without you. Anoki grinded his teeth on the scathing insult, this boy. Sasuke was a fanatic just like many Uchiha he had known during his lifetime. It was time to make the boy pay for his crimes. The title of the Tsuchikage shall rest with me, said Anoki seriously, as Sasuke laughed. I have ascended beyond the stupid positions of a Kage. I am the knight of the emperor, I am the sword of the most powerful man in the world. Compared to that title, the Tsuchikage seems like nothing. Sasuke commanded his hawk to move, and with super speed the bird dashed towards the old Kage. At first the old man was surprised with the speed, but he quickly rose high in the air, missing Sasuke's sword slash by an inch. It was the Uchiha's turn to be shocked when his hawk cried out in pain, and it suddenly started crashing towards the ground with great speed. It was as if the bird was suddenly carrying an entire mountain on its wings and couldn't take it anymore. Doton, Kajugen no Jutsu, Earth Release, added weight rock technique. Sasuke cursed when he saw Anoki muttering his prize technique. Just as the Kage had removed his hand from the bird's tail, the summon had gone crashing down before disappearing into a puff of smoke. With his air superiority gone, Sasuke now stood on top of the tallest tree near his vicinity while his opponent hovered over him with a smug grin on his face. Not willing to face another jab, Sasuke focused his Mangekyo Sharingan on the Kage in front of him. Amaterasu. Anoki gritted his teeth as a wall made of black flames started following him. From the experiences of his destroyed rock clone, he was well aware of the damage this cursed fire would cause him. He could still feel the smirk of that Uchiha brat on seeing him run away from those black flames. Those fucking eyes. Crack. The Kage's eyes widened in pain and shock when a powerful kick impacted his back. He could clearly hear the sickening crunch of his bones as Sasuke appeared over him and launched his attack. How the fuck did the boy manage this feat? Only when he looked down did he notice that those black flames that were following him had brought him closer to the ground, effectively putting him into Sasuke's crosshairs. But still it couldn't explain how quickly the boy emerged behind him, and Anoki couldn't even feel the boy move. Anoki crashed on the ground as Sasuke landed right in front of him. The expression on the boy's face showed he was rather displeased with the ongoing battle. If you are this weak, then what kind of fracked-up delusion made you believe that you can take on Naruto? The Emperor is more powerful than me, said Sasuke flatly. He disliked revealing any kind of information to the enemy. But orders were orders, and he would follow Naruto's commands till the end. Even if the entire world knew that Naruto was dangerous. Sasuke admitting out loud that the Emperor was more powerful than Sasuke himself, who was right now kicking the Tsuchikage's ass, should send a clear message. You tried to tear me apart, so it's good manners if I return the favor, said Sasuke wickedly, and saw Anoki take a step back, being now aware of the danger this Uchiha posed to his life. What are you? The act of stealing from others is a sin. From the moment we are born, we continuously take something from others, said Sasuke mysteriously, as he glanced at the dark sky. Anoki chose to remain silent, quite more interested in being alert to the boy's every movement, unless he wanted to serve his life on a silver plate. Life is an unending cycle of committing sin. Life is evil itself. Revealed Sasuke, does that justify everything you've done, Uchiha? Asked Anoki bitterly. No, I am aware and accept the fact that I am evil. And so are you. Anoki tensed when Sasuke gave him a frightening smile that sent shivers down his spine. This boy was truly mad. Now, come and kill me, challenged Sasuke. Sasuke took out his sword and Anoki started weaving a set of hand seals as fast as he could. A determined expression came in the old man's eyes as he pointed his hands in his opponent's direction. Then die, Uchiha Sasuke. Jin-tun Genkai Hakuri no Jutsu, Dust Release, Detachment of the Primitive World Technique. In a flash, Sasuke found himself completely trapped in a large square-shaped structure, with a sphere located at the center. His eyes widened and a cruel smile came on Anoki's face. Boom! The sphere exploded violently, obliterating everything in a 100-meter radius to dust. Smoke and debris flew across the battlefield, making the old Kage sigh in relief. The battle may have been brief, but there was something about that boy that sent alarming bells in the old Kage's heart. He could still feel the broken bones on his backside. If anything, Sasuke knew how to deliver a powerful kick. Just when he started to relax, his veteran senses picked up the sound of quick running. He looked up to see Sasuke emerging from the smoke and running towards him with a predatory look in his eyes. Impossible, said Anoki in disbelief, even as he finished performing his next set of hand seals. How the boy managed to survive would be a question that would be later answered, but right now he knew Uchiha Sasuke was out for blood. His blood. Jin-tun, Genkai Hakuri Hashira, Dust Release, Detachment of the Primitive World Pillar. Another powerful beam of the same light was fired by Anoki, which completely ripped Sasuke's entire chest as the Uchiha stared in shock. The painful expression turned into a mischievous smile as the man simply vanished into thin air. Anoki quickly bit himself to dispel whatever genjutsu that was in effect, but saw another Sasuke coming towards him from the left side. Another from the right. The next one from behind. One from the front. From every direction one Sasuke was running towards him, and none of them appeared to be bunshin of any kind. Without hesitation and in a moment of panic, Anoki fired beam after beam of his Jin-tun style, obliterating each copy of Sasuke. However, the nightmare only seemed to get more intense as more and more Sasuke started getting killed. Minutes passed, and despite the demise of several copies, Sasuke kept coming. The Kage was panting harshly due to the heavy usage of chakra and the injuries he had already suffered. Once you let the darkness in, it completely consumes you. The ground beneath Anoki's feet cracked, and in a flash Sasuke emerged, grabbing the Kage by the throat with his left hand and lifting him in the air. Anoki tried to defend himself by bringing his hands forward. If he was going down, then so was the boy. Slash! H! Yelled Anoki, as showers of blood erupted from the left arm of his body. The severed limb lay twitching on the blood-stained battlefield, while the blood was drenched cleanly on Sasuke's sword. The Uchiha's expression was cold and unwavering as he smashed Anoki to the ground, breaking the old man's legs. Rebelling is not a sin, and neither is fighting for what you believe in. But a man accepts the consequences of his actions, advised Sasuke sagely, even as Anoki struggled to get back on his feet. Say that when you die, cursed the Kage, and surprisingly a genuine smile came on Sasuke's lips. When I die, I'll meet my end with the same smile that I have right now. I have no regrets. Now what shall it be? I've been ordered to give a quick death, but I prefer the painful one more. Sneered Sasuke. Fuck you. Jin-tun dash. Slash. The severed head of the Tsuchikage floated in the sky. A permanent horrified expression was etched into the murdered man's eyes. Before the head could hit the ground, a kunai impacted with the forehead, sending it sailing away a few meters, where it got implanted on the bark of a tree. A fitting end for a pathetic fool, thought Sasuke irritatedly, as he saw his now blood-stained uniform and sword. Frank, it all got filthy. 2 days later. A satisfied smile was visible on the Emperor's face as he stared at the paper which had written on it the offer for surrender from the resistance. The fact that it was from Kurenai herself made him happy. She had finally seen the light. After displaying the battle of Anoki and Sasuke over the entire world, the very next day he had received a message of a ceasefire, and now this official offer for a truce and surrender. Things had worked out exactly as he had thought. Kurenai and the resistance were willing to end their long-standing conflict, provided they are able to negotiate a truce and a few treaties. If successful, they would merge with the empire. Words couldn't express the relief he felt in this moment. Fighting against her for so long had been extremely painful for him. He would finally get to see her after 2 years, and maybe they could be friends again. The war was over. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time. Later.